All right, it's time for that amazing, super duper Star Citizen podcast you like every Friday night. That's right, it's the SpaceBro Show. With super special guests tonight, we have the amazing, illustrious Toy Grubbins here. And of course, the one, the only Snake Eater. And you know him, you love him. He brought most of you over here. That's right, it's Sergeant Tickles. And we'll fix the screen between times. Maybe. And I'm Mitauchi, so let's just go ahead and go live right now. That was easy. I'll fix it. Quit beating me. Guys, what's going on? And I hear a fifth party.
There may or may not be a fifth party.
There may or may not. We'll see.
What happened? Apparently, we're in the Twilight Zone. My resolution is better than your resolution, Mitt.
Because here's exactly what happened. And I'm not going to stop the show for it. You guys are going to have to just deal with it tonight. We actually found a huge issue with XSplit the other day. I was actually trying to stream some Borderlands and stuff, and the capture from the Elgato 4K card was actually stuttering every 10 seconds or so, just on the game capture part. So we've made the switch over to slobs now, but guess what? You can't individually frame or scene capture on slobs or OBS that I've found yet. So I can't like cut out the windows for the SpaceBro Show. So within the last 3 minutes, I had to switch back over to XSplit. And so right now we're broadcasting at 720. Enjoy.
I look like I'm streaming off of a potato, so
well, you know, hey, it's whatever. This is what we're working with right now. I'm not so fine with it for bringing it up. But no, it's gonna work for tonight. We'll just make it happen. We'll just add noises and sound effects in the background to make it more entertaining.
Well, that's dude, I tell you what, man, I have tried slobs one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, because everyone was, slobs. I use OBS.
Bad about
it.
Don't you
I'm probably going to be right there with you on OBS. The only reason I went slobs is because I was trying to do the Borderlands broadcast, and I literally was able to throw a scene together in like 2 seconds.
I love slobs.
OBS Studio is a little more involved.
Slobs.
Yeah, but
I like OBS. And the one time I tried slobs, it locked up fucking everything.
It's run like butter for me now,
and it was like
I've never had trouble with slobs.
Yeah, it's running really good right now. But I'll tell you, I found this is one flaw. When you go to capture stuff like when we broadcast in Zoom, like right now, you can already see my green screen's tweaking all over the place. But when you go to capture like we do with Zoom, we're actually draw a box with XSplit to capture each one of these frames for our broadcast. You can't do that in slobs. There is no way to crop or anything. You capture the whole application or the whole window or nothing at all. And so for this talk show, and I set up all the scenes and everything for it. The minute I went to capture, when we all went into like, you were still streaming Tickles and we were all getting set up, I couldn't crop anything. I couldn't do anything. It was just the whole window. We would have just had this box like what we're looking at in Zoom, and that's it. And I'm like, yeah, not doing that. So I'd be
surprised if there wasn't some functionality that resembles what you're trying to do, just because slobs.
There might be.
Like,
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in 10 minutes though. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, fair enough. I mean, their trademark is like these integrations, which is they've just killed it on integrations.
I almost guarantee there is that functionality in regular OBS. But I don't know if there is in slobs, so I might be over.
Slobs has shored up most of the things that it could do, because it used to be able to do a few things that slobs couldn't do, like NTI and stuff like that. But
yeah, we'll see. If not, if they don't have it yet, they will eventually in slobs. But
very true.
But anyways, so let's see what's going on with everybody. How's everybody's week been?
Good, man. Yeah, fun. It's like one of the. Game release weeks are always fun, and we've had like a couple of monstrous games released back to back. So that's been, whether you're a huge fan of that game or not specifically, I think it's always an exciting time in the video game industry when you've got, giants dropping titles,
Well, it should be exciting for everybody, because even like, say you're not into Borderlands, and there's actually a couple titles that came out at the same time that I was pretty excited about. The other one was what's it called? Like Men at War or whatever. It's a squad based little real time tactical shooter, which I haven't played yet, but we will be playing this weekend. It's pretty cool.
Sexist.
Yeah. Well, that's in the title. I don't know what to say.
Why
but,
not people at war?
Yeah. Why not people at war? Damn it. We're all at war. Because it's not Twitter based. If it was Twitter, it'd be
people kind.
It'd be people at war. If it's real life based, it's usually something
English.
different. Yeah.
Languages have these issues. That's a sidebar.
That's a whole different thing, right?
That's a different subject.
But the cool thing is, with things like Borderlands coming out and other games of that nature, a lot of the mainline streamers under a certain product like Star Citizen or something might be overplaying something else, and then the other guys can play Star Citizen, and then you get just more activity on Twitch and Mixer and YouTube and everything. So there's just more content for people to ingest and enjoy. So that's good.
But it's good to switch it up, so you're not getting burned out on Star Citizen.
I leave it up to a streamer.
I was a little burned out.
Yeah,
with Star Citizen lately.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it was interesting because somebody mentioned in my Discord recently, did WoW like take you away from Star Citizen or something like that?
That's a Star Citizenism.
Yeah. Well, and I said. No, Star Citizen took me away from Star Citizen because it's always them that breaks their own game and makes it difficult to play. So it's just one of those ups and downs. But really, at the end of the day, it's a mixed blessing because it gives me the opportunity to if a particular patch here and there is difficult to create content for, difficult to play, you sidestep to a game that you'd want to play anyway, like WoW Classic or Borderlands, and then you come back. So
yeah. But I'm sure you get this too, Tickles. Whenever you're playing, on the rare occasion you're playing something else, they're like, "Oh, you're not going to be playing Star Citizen anymore." Like, you always get the hardcore. They're like, "What happened, man? It's like Wednesday. You haven't played Star Citizen like in almost 12 hours. What's going on?"
I know. Well, I opened up with WoW pretty hardcore when it came out. And then we've been working, Star Citizen back, and I always make sure to at least, when a new game comes out, I always make sure to at least play Star Citizen once a week. At least on Saturdays, stuff like that.
Yep.
And then so I start working it in more and more. But gosh, the only thing that's new is the 890, and that was fun, and we played with it, and it's like, okay, we can't even refuel the motherfucker. So, and
we all called that, right? We were like, we knew, like, okay, it drops is going to be amazing. It's still potentially really cool for RP, but you can't even have
no zone. Go away.
Yeah, you can't even have a long RP session, right? Because it's like, oh, you're out of fuel now.
Super long and super hard RP in the 890 jump.
Yeah, but you're gonna be RP and you're out of gas in a minute. Like, that's
dude, the fuel on that thing. Oh my god.
Well,
I don't know. It just goes so fast.
That's not how it should be. Like the 600i is like super fuel efficient because Origin is known for its fuel efficiency. We're nerding out here already, but the 890 jump is a capital ship that's supposed to be like out for months.
Yeah, I know.
It's a hotel away from your hotel. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's supposed to be.
But somehow you can watch the fucking fuel gauge drop. As you're flying, you can watch it tick down. You can it's like a 1990 Chevy 454.
Well, and like Luco says in chat, it's a bug, and we know it's a bug. But again, also, looking through the content, this is going to be a constant cycle of Star Citizen, and I'm happy that a lot of content creators are kind of for their own sanity playing some other stuff and still maintaining Star Citizen. I think for the long term, for the road we have ahead of us with this game, you have to. And even the devs from Star Citizen, from CIG, have been saying that for years anyway. Like, oh, play some other stuff too.
I think, they're like, hey, we're noticing a little bit of bitterness and salt. How about you take a break?
Yep.
And come back when we have some new cool stuff to show you, and instead of bitching constantly about how broken the game is. And I agree with that,
Or the fact Chris Roberts isn't there or something.
I do have one question. And sorry, I'll let Toy go after this. Can I get a background? Or am I just going to be the green man?
I thought you were popping. I'm working on it.
Can we get a background?
I was actually fixing my own thing first because I was like tweaking out.
backgrounds before guests need backgrounds.
Guests need backgrounds first.
I don't know. I like the
The
avocado
host
green.
has a background.
Bam! How
Look
about that? You're actually on fire.
That makes me look even shinier. Like,
Here's the thing with Star Citizen. I've never dated a rock star, but I expect it's exactly like being enamored with Star Citizen, because the reality is, for most daily things, it's a fucking train wreck. But like, they every once in a while will drop something that's mind-blowingly genius and so charming and cool and unique that you have to come back and be with them. But
well, and that's what I love about them, right?
Why is this simple shit broken?
But that's what I love about them, because it's like, it doesn't matter. I see so many people have these moments. They're like, it's like a bad relationship with like a really hot girlfriend or something. It's like I'm out of here. I'm leaving and stuff. And then it's like, not 2 days later, like, oh, what's going on? There's a new ship.
Yeah.
There's a new something.
Example.
Oh, I'm coming right back right now. And meanwhile,
though,
Xylo and CIG, just hi Xylo, by the way. They're all sitting there and they're like, they're just doing business as usual while our heads are spinning because of our own drama. It's self-induced by our own people.
Yeah, it's 100% community created drama.
Yeah, it is.
A perfect example is Cave Tech.
They
announce Cave Tech and you're like, eye roll, holy shit, really? And then they show you a Cave Tech and you're like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like, they managed to make something that's pretty pedestrian if you talk it out loud.
It's a hole in the ground.
Seems so cool. Yeah, and that's really the story of Star Citizen, right?
Yeah.
Spaceships, a lot of people have done spaceships.
Yep.
A lot of people have failed at spaceships. Star Citizen kills it.
Yeah.
And planets and procedural planets and all these things are things that they've glamorized because they're just incredibly good at it. But and the simple shit is like, it's artistic. Star Citizen's artistic. They're savants. They're like, they don't know how to make a UI to save their life yet. But everything, all these like what is it? Low hanging fruit. The high hanging fruit is like killed. They knock it out of the park.
I'm not sure whether that was a compliment or not. Like, I don't know where you went
with
that.
It's very complicated, Sergeant Tickles. It's just like Star Citizen. It's very complicated.
Me and Toy have talked about this before too. It's like with the UI thing, the UI is never going to be perfect until they have most of the features in the game, because they're constantly going to have to shift it all the time. It's like me and Toy have talked about that for years. It's like, oh, the UI is great. And then it's like, oh, but now the ships work like this. Oh, well, then this doesn't make sense anymore.
Well, it's like elevators can go to any fucking pad. You're like, finally. And then they're like, here's the list of 27 pads you can go to.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
But you're like, here's a quality of life improvement, and here's a quality of life detractor.
Did you see the UI that they're coming out with? It looks really fucking good.
Yes. And guess what? It's a pie menu. It's been invented.
Oh, for physicalized inventory, you mean?
It's totally been around, but I'm excited about it just because quality of life improvements are always exciting because you literally touch them hundreds of times a day. But yeah, it's cool. It'll be cool.
Well, I tell you, with caves, what really got me excited, and I didn't even think of it till they mentioned it on the roadmap roundup, was they're going to be using caves for the prison systems that they're going to put in the game for when you catch players for bounties and stuff like that. They will make a prison system. Can you not hear me?
Cave prisons is just mean.
Yeah,
it's just a
I think
mean
it's
place
awesome
to keep convicts. It's nasty. I like it though.
So, I think it's awesome.
No, I think it's cool that they take a concept of something that's a hole in the ground, and it's like they make it look badass. Right, it's like what Tickles is saying. Something's like very mundane. It's like, hey, they're gonna have caves, and I know there are people though that were excited the minute they mentioned caves. People are like, oh my god, caves! I'm like, I think they could mention like, hey guys, we're gonna have like landscaping in here, and they'll be like, oh my god, landscaping, it's amazing. It's like,
do you remember how excited the Few was when he found out he was gonna be able to pick fruit?
Oh yes, and I was like, I know you could pick it, and he's like, yeah, but you can pick it, and I'm like, yeah, you can pick it and literally just throw it right now, and that's it. And he's like, "That's amazing."
I mean, it's like cloud tech and cave tech are two things that are not real terms, but they have made them important terms, and that is a testament. I mean, it really is to the developers that are in charge of those things to make 2 rock walls and a rock ceiling and a rock floor really cinematic and cool. I defy people to do that, even
and
with a camera,
procedurally generated, where they can lay those assets in there and kind of customize them, but do it. I don't want to say quickly, but
so
make it different, but still make it kind of objective and move forward, and still make it more optimized. I guess I hate saying like it's easy, because people, the minute anybody says procedural, they're like, oh, it's automatic. Then I'm like, nothing Star Citizen or CIG does is automatic.
No, it's
because
difficult.
they could generate like 16 solar systems with a flip of a switch, like what am I thinking of? No Man's does or whatever. But every artist is going to go over all those procedural assets by hand and make sure everything looks right, the seams are right, and tweak them and everything. There is no like button where it's like, oh, they got one system done and they're all fine. I'm like, that will like never
AI,
happen.
Right? Like AI, such as it is right now, is something that helps people skip a bunch of steps, but then they still have to have human eyes look at it to make sure that it conforms to what a human would recognize and like.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get into the week here real quick. And I think, Toy, do you want to do your video first before we dive into the air stuff, or?
Sure.
All right, we'll take a look here.
People don't mind Star Citizen leaks, so.
Cardi Cola.
Yep.
I got the leaks this week.
The following is a leak.
Yep.
If you don't like leaks, look away.
You gotta shore up your colostomy bag.
Hot take, chat.
Yeah. We need like a preview screen I'll drop in or whatever with my max headroom glitchiness that's going on in the camera right now. And we need to.
It doesn't know what it wants to do with your hair.
It's just like.
Your hair is too powerful.
Yeah. Well, everything. Watch my hands. It's like, I'm fading away. What is happening to me now? It's all good.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Like all of Star Citizen, though, to be honest, to be fair.
Yeah. So go ahead, Toy, talk about this.
So this is a preview. It's a white box, of course, of the Hercules. So somebody data mined the crap out of the engine. Of course, yanked it out.
Fucking hackers.
What they're gonna show it here in a minute. Some of the insides of it. I was really, really surprised what they're gonna do with the bomber variant, because I expected, and by the concept pictures, they show the bomber variant with the bomb bay at the front, and then the storage of your tank in the back. Because, as you know, with the Hercules, you can only hold one tank with the A2, but with the M2 and the C2, you can hold 2.
Yeah.
But according to this white box, the bomb bay is in the back, and you'll have to load your tank into the front.
Well, I mean,
I guess it would be
I
like
feel like
if
that's
you're
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
yeah. Either way, yeah, exactly. You could make the argument that one works better for some things and one doesn't for others. But I mean, if you were looking at this as a bomberized cargo ship like a C-130 or a C-17 that was converted for the sake of bombing, you would probably like for pallets, for example. Pallets. Anything that goes out follows pallets, because you're not going to be in front of pallets, so it's like makes sense with bombs. So like you would follow the bombs out. You're not going to go ahead of the bombs.
For that, it was in real life. It's all about weight balance, and weight balance and told. It's all
Tickles,
it's about.
no, by the way, Chad, if you don't know, Tickles is a professional air crew.
I was an aviator of sorts.
Yep.
So there's still ramps at the front and back, and this concept here showed a tank in the back where the bomb is, and of course that won't happen. They were just showing it for how the two are going to fit in on the other models. So, but I thought this was pretty cool.
It is pretty
super cool. Oh, well, I know a lot of people are excited about that airframe.
Yes.
That is true.
I'm just excited about the bombs. Like,
I was super duper not excited about that ship at all whatsoever upon its release, or concept. Now I want one.
Yeah.
Not after seeing this, but like after we got the ballista and we got other stuff, you know what I mean? I'm like, now I want one.
I've always been a sort of a closet lover of the C-17 and C-130s. You know, they're utilitarian aircraft, but they have so much personality and they're so versatile, and they've been used for so many different things over the years. And they to this day are do things that no other ship airframe can do. And that like this screams that, it's like this is a cargo platform that can be used for weaponized functions and like all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll be really cool.
Well, what I like about it too is, it's a bomber. It has guns that are all below it for for laying some ground fire down, but there's really no protection above it. So it does have a weak spot that you have to basically protect.
But one thing that I was really turned off by upon its original, I'm like, wow, it's kind of doesn't have much cargo room. You know what I mean? I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But then now that we have atmospheric flight and that, like landing and things, it's everything's different now than it was when it released.
Yeah, it is definitely a ship that falls into the category that the Valkyrie falls into, which is it really doesn't do anything by itself. And I don't just mean like crew or what's in the ship. I mean the context that you're using the ship for. If there isn't a context for it, then it doesn't really have a place or a home, or it doesn't shine by itself off in the vacuum of space. It really needs a job. But once it has a job, it's like the best thing you could use for that job.
Well, that's why I haven't bought a dropship yet, because there's no gameplay mechanics for dropships yet, really. So once they add that game mechanic in,
I mean,
you're right.
Yes
though,
and no.
You're right. I mean, give or take. I mean, I think there's no mechanics that take advantage of the like heavy dropship role. I think because you can kind of do what you need to do.
The Valkyrie is still one of my favorite ships to fly in the game, just because.
Don't get me wrong.
Just because bringing people in, multiplayer. I think it's probably, I would argue, one of the best multi-crew ships we have available, because even though it's mostly guns, it has functional stations for people to actually do something in the ship while you're flying it. Whereas other stuff, you're kind of like.
Opinion. When the Valkyrie first came out, I had this very controversial opinion that it is one of the best thought out, most purpose-built ships in the game, and I still think that. But right now, if you filled a Valkyrie, people don't realize how much you can fit into a Valkyrie. If you filled a Valkyrie with crew and a payload, you would have 3/5 of the server in there. So there's just no place for it yet to shine as bright as it could shine.
Absolutely.
What I like about the Valkyrie is the fact that you could stuff 4 Cyclones in it.
Totally,
so that is a lot of freaking tumbrils.
It is an incredible ship. If you really look at its deets, its details, it's really a cool ship.
Imagine how many bikes you can put in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as we're talking about ship sizes, one of the latest actual ship statuses, one of my favorite images.
I saw that. Who made that?
I can't remember. It's on Reddit. I'll have to look him up and we'll give him some credit later.
Yeah, we should. Very well created.
This is all that matters. And I know people have done different stat pages as far as like, what ship's available, what's not. The green bars clearly indicate here what's playable, what's on the roadmap, and what's only in concept. And I love this because then it gives you the updated ship sizes too, to give you some scale, give you some ideas. And it's beautiful. It's just laid out really nice, and I love it.
Yeah, really
so
clear.
Very
well done.
Yeah, and I think it's I think there's some exciting. One of the things that I've found an interesting to kind of tie in some recent news. They're coming out with a show to kind of place ships next to each other to create some contrast, and I think that's important. I think it's great for CIG to start doing this because, again, like we just spoke about, some ships completely depend upon context for you to have an appreciation for them, and sometimes that context can just be another ship. But in this case, you can kind of see like an 890 jump versus an Idris, and the Idris is clearly a bit bigger, but but not by a lot. But I've, constantly talked about why I think an Idris is more practical for like a guild or an org to just kind of have as a base versus a ship like the 890 Jump. But it's fun to kind of compare the two and talk about what they both can do together similarly and what one can do that the other can't.
Well, the other thing you have to consider is you're dealing with a military vessel, right, versus a luxury model. So you have more floors in Idris. You have more actual utility room for what they're doing in stations and that sort.
It's definitely way taller and it's more purpose built for like that, like an org or whatever.
Even then, there's only 40 meters difference in the two vessels, but it's going to be.
That's exactly what exactly.
Yeah,
well said.
You're going to have more. Every inch of a military vessel is going to be used or useful for that crew for some purpose.
Every inch.
Yeah. Whereas in a luxury vessel like a Jump, it's like, oh, I can kick my feet out with 50 of my friends, and we have all this extra space for no apparent reason other than I can afford it. That's a huge difference.
Yeah. It's like, because for an example, to give people an idea what I'm talking about, an example, there's like a briefing room in the Idris for, like a pilot briefing room or a crew briefing room. It's cool because you could totally see whether you're RPing or not RPing, having a meeting in there, like. Basically doing your own version of what CIG did with last year's ship sale, which is to have a real event but virtually staged in the game. And you could obviously meet up on Discord or whatever, but what would be cooler is meeting up on Discord and having everybody physicalized in a briefing room, 30 of you in chairs there to hang out and get this briefing. Whereas the 890 Jump is big enough to have something like that, but there isn't really a place everybody could stand in the atrium or whatever, but it's not as it's not built for that.
It's not built for that. And that's for me, like I said, my 890 is kind of an org ship, but it's just a chill ass org ship. It's not hey, let's take this ship out and go fuck shit up, or whatever.
And it shouldn't be, right? Like I hope they don't cave to. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, these weapons need to be bigger. This needs to be harder core." And I'm like, it's a luxury yacht. It's badass, but it's not supposed to like blow up Idrises and stuff. I mean, it's not that type of boat. It's like,
I don't know. What I want is the in these briefing rooms and stuff, I want them to bring some tech online for those holo tables that we're able to get in there. And when we scan system, we can put that scan system in that holo table and actually lay out little fighting plans like they showed us in the vertical slice. That is what I am most looking forward to with those briefing rooms.
That would be slick. That'd be super slick.
DeGunther, it's on Reddit. I'll find a link by the end of the show, but I downloaded this actually because I actually have this.
Yeah, I saved it too.
This is one of my screensavers. One of them. I like it.
I need a link too.
It's really good. But it was in the top like 10 posts of Reddit like today even. So
yeah, I saw it because it was trending.
Yeah, it was really good. So you can go right over there and do it. And I know some of you guys are like, Reddit, and I'm like, yeah, but sometimes you got to cruise through there anyway. You don't have to read the articles. Look at the pretty pictures, and you'll be fine. A couple things I did want to talk about in here that kind of like the cool thing about this chart, because I was looking, detailed through it and all that stuff. And you can zoom on it and stuff when you're in the other format of it. But compare the 890, like how much does this take the sail out of the wings for people of certain vessels, right? Because we have a pretty damn big ship in the game now, right? The 890 is pretty big. And a lot of people, they were like, I haven't heard anything about the Reclaimer hype. Like people, oh yeah, big boat, blah, blah. I'm like, this thing's like 50 meters bigger than the Reclaimer. So
it's huge.
Yeah. So if you're just going for size and how big it is, I think this kind of squished some of the people's like whole opinions on the whole, the Reclaimer this, Reclaimer that. I mean, still the salvage aspect's important, but I think a lot of people bought the Reclaimer because it was the big boat out there.
Yeah, at the time,
ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's
not me too. I mean,
not you. The one thing that stood out to me though is what about the Banu? This thing makes the Banu look small to me.
Yeah, here's what I think. Here's like, if you walk around in the 890 Jump, again, these contrasting points between ships, I think is going to be really good for CIG, really good for us. But I mean, mark my words, Banu Merchantman getting bigger, because
I think it has to.
if you took just the square footage of the 890 jump and turned it into a market, took the atrium, turned it into like an open market, took each of the rooms in the 890 jump and made them a little shop, it would kind of cramped, a little bit cramped for what you would consider to be like a marketplace. And I realize the Banu Merchantman creates some of that outside of the ship when it opens up and stuff like that, but I think that it's not going to be big enough in this in the specific chart. It doesn't look big enough to me to be this traveling market to me.
No, it's 47 meters smaller than the 890, according if the stats on the page are correct.
It might be super tall though.
And that might be true.
You know what I mean?
But is it still going to have the bazaar that comes out from below the Banu? Wasn't it supposed to have like a whole shop like deploys from below it and all that stuff and the Banu Merchantman? We don't even know what direction they've gone with it with all the changes and stuff. To be honest,
they've redone the Banu Merchantman like 30 times now,
and we've never seen it.
Well, we see different concepts
of it. Yeah.
Well, the other thing to remember about the Banu Merchantman is it was created before their 3D concepting pipeline began. So that's why you see all these concepts for the Banu Merchantman, and they all have different character. And they're going to need to flesh that out. They're going to need to. But in my opinion, if you were opening a ship up to create even more stuff outside of it, I feel like you need even more space, because when you close it up again, it's going to be especially cramped inside. I just feel like they're going to.
And maybe they'll have some amazing design on the shops or how that'll work inside. But I mean, just looking at it from out here, I agree with you 100%. It just seems like it'd be really small for what they tried to make it sound like it's this bustling, shops and all these things. I think it. I
think you're gonna have like one vendor.
Well, and let's be honest, I don't think it could support that a ton of people. I mean, if you had a shop, let's say it's like a mall, right? Like in one of the indoor malls, and you have these small little niche type shops all through there. One shop could still hold like 15, 20 people. I mean, you'd be able to fit hundreds of people on this one ship and it'd be whatever. I think if they make them too big and you put them on these servers, even if we get our pop counts up to like, say, 500 people in the system at some point, it's going to feel really empty on these huge ass ships.
And it could be just the utilization of the space too, because the truth is we kind of highlighted that in spite of only being 40 meters different between the 890 and the Idris, the utilization of that space is very different and creates for the feeling that the Idris is much bigger, even though it's even in width, it's not really that much bigger. And so I think that they could go a lot of places, but look how skinny it is and stuff. Like I think it's got to get bigger, but I think maybe they just will use the spaces better than a luxury ship.
Maybe so.
Well, and do you guys remember the Idris from November? It was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean when I watched that
890.
Yeah, when I watched that video, that's the walkthrough video, and then I think I watched it at the same time I was highlighting the 890. I went through the 890 and then I watched the Idris walkthrough, and it feels like the Idris is a javelin, and it's just because it's more like logically laid out. And luxury is a waste of space. That's
like we said, it's like it's laid out in a more practical application on a military vessel, where it's like, hey, this room has a reason. It doesn't have a fishbowl, where this room has a reason. It's not your fifth bathroom.
It's not a fucking pool.
It's like,
imagine how much. I hope that the pool area has a modular theater in it.
If your ship has saunas, a pool, a fish tank, and like 12 purposeless bedrooms, you're not going to be killing shit in that ship. Let's just be honest.
Saunas or something, right? Doesn't that have like 2 or 4 saunas?
It's got 2 saunas.
2 saunas.
A couple dressing rooms.
Because one wasn't enough, right?
Yeah, I agree. The 890 should be able to defend itself pretty well. The commercial they put out for it was amazing. The 890, I thought that was really good too. But
totally, it's so good.
The two things this whole image that bothered me the most was, like I said, I thought the Merchantman was a little small, and I'm not a huge Merchantman fanboy. I'm really interested to see the ship. I'll probably never own one just because it doesn't fit in my gameplay standard. But the Endeavor is smaller than the Jump right now, which I was like,
worried me.
That was like, what? And
what's the Endeavor,
the hospital ship that does hospital science, all that. It's the one right below it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, what?
It's not as long. You got to think that one's going to be wide.
It is going
That
to be
was gonna
wide
be a
because I have the
wide ship.
modules and all that. But
as well as multiple decks.
yeah, but still, I was thinking it'd be a little bit longer. I was thinking it'd be more like Idris, if not Kraken size, and then be really wide. Like a huge, like
I don't know,
from
man,
the
they've
old
always-
concept pictures with the biopods on it, made it look like it was going to be huge.
I thought it was going to be
Always
like Deep
pegged it
Space
at about
Nine.
200
Modular.
meters.
I
Yeah.
mean, the pods add a good 40% or so of square footage to the whole thing.
That's
to
what I'm
be
saying. It
honest,
just
but
in that picture, it looks skinny. That's the big problem.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's at 200 meters, which has always been pegged to be, and it's also not even a fucking white box that we know of. So
True. Again, I think it's an important delineation to make that how big a deal it is when CIG went to a 3D concepting workflow, because you don't realize how hard it is to get a grasp for the identity of a ship and how it fits into the universe when it's in just this 2D like free-forming idea. When they put it into 3D, they can put it into the same universe that all the other ships exist in, and they can get a feel for it in relation to those ships. But you can't do that in 2D very well.
Yeah.
And the ships that we're highlighting having size issues are exactly those ships that were not conceived in the 3D pipeline.
Yeah, it's very true. I just think the 890 still feels like it's almost too big to me, in my opinion. It's just feels like they supersized it. It just,
for really having 5 bedrooms, 5 luxury bedrooms, yeah, it's freaking huge.
It's huge. I mean, you're talking about the ship is nearing the size of what we've talked about would take like 100 crew to man
I
at
love
one
that
point,
it's
right?
fucking huge, man. I love it.
I do too. There are
It's
a couple
giant
things
waste
I
of
wish
space.
like options. There's a couple things that I wish were options. Like there's a couple things that I think are like truly gratuitous luxury, like 2 saunas, like an entire nose dedicated to a pool. Like I would like for those things to be options, because like let's be honest, we all go to the hotel, stay at a nice hotel. You're like, awesome, there's a pool. Never go to the pool. You just
Very
never
rarely.
end up in the pool, right? So I would
Unless
like
you
to
have
see like a
kids.
well, okay, that's true, but I would like to see like a theater option, or like a little office, like if one of the sides where the saunas are was like a private office for a guest or something like that.
Bowling
Some
alley.
modularity.
Bowling alley would be
bowling
badass.
alley. There you go. I mean, more recreational than I was thinking, but yeah, exactly.
Strip club.
Sure, yeah.
Shooting
I'm really
range.
Just trying to get the 890 to get more like
Shooting
the
range, there you
Idris is
go.
what it
I'd
comes
like
down to.
shooting range through the whole
That'd be
bow.
fucking
Though.
awesome.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
go down there and be like, yeah, let's go
if
fire
Keanu
some
Reeves
guns.
is 890, it would probably have a shooting range.
He'd probably have a full time course though. He'd be sitting there doing the whole time
100%.
trial.
He'd have all his motorcycles and a range. Yeah,
That'd be cool. Yeah. But anyway, cool image. I really, in my opinion, think
that's a good find.
I think the Endeavor should grow. The Merchantman should grow. I think the whole D should grow, if you want me to be honest. So
Yeah, get up festival.
That's why I couldn't buy back the whole E. I was just like, you know what? Let's just do it all. Let's just get it. Let's just get the biggest. Supersize me.
supersize you up. Get it all done.
I'm gonna BRB need a bio break.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Let's
all
go over
right.
here. Let's go over.
By
since
the
we
way,
were
I just
talking-
got
What do you got?
chat. I just got 400 channel points just for watching the show. So don't forget to cash in your channel points, chat.
Smack that button.
Smack it.
Smack it. Smack it.
Ring the bell. God, I walked right into that one.
Yeah, smack the heck out of it. Oh my. All right, so let's look at some of these caves we were talking about earlier.
Let's look at caves.
Because I was like really ho-hummy about the cave thing. And then this happened.
Yes, of course, because who cares about caves? But
Yeah.
look at them.
I care about what's
they're
in caves
amazing.
normally, not like, hey, I care about the whole. Oh, look at the stand-in in there for Tickles. He's ready to rock and roll.
It's a potato.
Yep.
It's like I can barely tell the difference.
Yep.
I like it.
These assets here, I'll freeze it right here for a second too. These assets are really cool looking.
They did
It
a
was cool
really
to
good
see.
job.
They really did.
I mean, let's be real. If there was any part of the game that has been on point 100% of the time it's existed, it's the environment team.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah, they've done nothing but improved what's happening, out there. And thank God you can't buy caves. I was afraid they'd come out and be like, "Oh no, buy your habitat," because who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, I mean, you can land claim. Maybe you can land claim over.
Oh
an
my
existing
God!
Cave.
No,
Right,
so
write
there's
it
a
down,
ship
chat.
literally
That's gonna happen,
terraforms or whatever, right? Yeah. So I mean, you will be able to claim an area.
my
I've heard. I
God.
remember.
Sure.
I don't remember if we were just conceiving this or if it was part of what they said, but like you could ostensibly build like a pirate base around a cave structure that served your purpose. So you'd have this internal and external.
I'm having
base,
flashbacks of Ark toy. Like,
Oh, nice.
everybody blocked all the caves immediately.
Yeah,
it's
block
like,
the caves.
yeah, you want to come down to my moon, and it's like, oh, all the caves are blocked. It's like, yeah, because it's my secret pirate base inside. You can't get it. They'll layer like 15 doors and stuff. So it's like, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. It's like, no, you're not gonna. Everybody fights over the caves. It's a space game.
I mean,
it's a space game,
that's
though. We're
when
gonna
you
be
get the
fighting over
Hercules.
caves.
I know, but that's when you use a Hercules to drop some size 10 bombs and open those doors.
Good God.
I mean, that promotes gameplay right there, right?
Promotes gameplay. Totally.
Yeah. The Battle of the Caves. That's what's going to happen. All caves, all days.
Well, somebody please put a Chris Roberts emoji in chat for Gamers Cafe. It's true. We need to stop helping Chris Roberts come up with additional things to put in patches.
There you go.
Thank you. I knew somebody had. I couldn't find your notes for some reason.
Yeah, I love these prefabs. Look badass.
But these don't even do any justice. I mean, the atmospherics when you get in there is like some of the first ones, like the very first opening rendering. Granted, I get it. They're like renders and they're not real-time engine shit. But I was like, holy shit. Those are the caves? Oh my God.
Well, and the caves kind of sprung up on us from nowhere.
Well,
like we knew that they were doing caves,
they come out of nowhere.
and then all of a sudden they're like 3.7.
Well,
yeah, man. Well, I mean,
wasn't it just like a year and a half ago where somebody mentioned like, will we be able to dig in the ground? And they said no, but we may be able to put in caves. And now it's like they put a whole team on caves and they have caves going. And I'm just like,
I mean, it's smart. They're using these assets that they've gone to great lengths to create, which we like to call planets or moons, and they're creating more ways to use those as content, and I think that that's smart. But I think it's it also, what's cool about these shows when they talk to developers is they give you some insight to why it's so much harder than we all fucking know. Because like you think, oh, procedural caves, easy clap. But if you make a procedural cave, what makes it not like loop back up and go up above the surface? This is it's not as easy as it sounds. And so I think it's always fun to hear them talk about some of their challenges.
I have to point out Val's comment down there. So he was talking about the feature creep is real, and Val said it's taking so long. I could do a startup, build a hotel on the moon before the game comes out. I was like, I have to give him props. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, don't worry. Then it'll be a historical game. It's like once Elon gets all us up on Mars and we're all hanging up there, it could be a historical space game instead of a futuristic one. It'll still play well. I'm not worried.
I don't know. I'm very curious, and I know this is a long way off. Very curious how they're going to do Earth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
well, I
it's
do think
1/6
that
scale.
Yeah, it's not the same scale. That's the biggest thing.
But how many cities are we going to have in the future? Are we just going to be? I know there's
There's
supposed
four
to be
big ones
landing
confirmed.
zones.
Listen,
I thought it was
there's
3.
4. No,
I know.
we have Moscow, we have New York, Shanghai, and the Russia. Or
Moscow
I
is
said
Russian.
Russia twice. Yeah. Is it 3? I
thought it was
swore
only
there was
3.
4.
and you said the Russia.
The Russia.
the Russia is entirely
Mother
different than Russia. By the way,
Mother Russia.
I think that
it'll have 4 locations. It'll have Stalingrad.
Well, I think
It'll
they should
have
do
Moscow, Siberia.
use existing technology. Like Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 is like mind-bogglingly accurate. So Chris, just go out, license that shit.
We'll spend a whole year of development just on Earth. You know that, right? Like, because I know they said they were going to downscale it and just have a couple landing zones. He'll put a full model Earth in it before this damn thing's over with.
If we're lucky.
I wouldn't be surprised. But remember, it is, set in the future. So maybe, and with the Van Duel attack, maybe something happened and half the planet blew apart.
We said,
post-apocalyptic.
Fuck it, we're all just moving to 3 cities.
Yeah, there we go. Well, a lot of games get away with that. They just say nuclear holocaust, and then they like scorched Earth, and then there is only like city-states left on Earth. But that's not the case historically in Star Citizen. So I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. It's always more to it, right?
I mean, they got to leave some room for, DLC. You know what I'm saying?
Act now, get the Earth DLC.
Star Citizen is the first game that comes out with the DLC before they come out with the main game. Am I right? Am I right, chat?
Yep.
Yeah.
I still was reeling back in the day.
Little odds and ends.
Remember when Ark came out with DLC before they even released the game?
I was gonna say a couple companies do that.
That was like a huge deal then, though. It's like the first game that was like a major title that was like, you're still in early access. Well, we got DLC you can buy now. It's like, what? You're not even out. It's like people are reeling down. Now we're like funding awesome games with internet spaceships. It's like not even a game yet. So
Al-Anon mentioned New York, Moscow, Shanghai, and a fourth mysterious 14 million stretch goal landing zone, assuming London is what he's guessing. So
I feel like they should just do what Blade Runner did, because they clearly are like to be derivative of Blade Runner, and that is not a negative in any way. Like, I'm not being pejorative. I love that about Star Citizen, but like they should just make all of Earth like Shanghai at this point, right? I mean,
I think you're gonna. They got to have it culturally different.
Yep.
They have to.
All the other planets are culturally different, though. I mean,
Well, yeah, but Earth would be extremely boring if they did it all in one, all 3 or 4 cities in one building.
What I would do with Earth
again.
I would make it the opposite. I would make the fact that we've stretched out into stars and we basically went backwards and tried to turn Earth into a park. Like it's got very few cities. It's very ecologically balanced now. We've tried to clean it up because we've taken all our shit everywhere else, and polluted all that.
Wall-E.
More like Expanse. You know how Earth is in the Expanse series, like where it's like they like everything's the Belters and Mars. They have all the industrial stuff for the most part, and Earth is like very. It's got a few cities and it's got very farm and it's rural because they've made it like you're not gonna pollute the Earth anymore. There's no more expansion there.
It's an interesting idea. What would Earth look like if it was if there were other places to go, if it was no longer your only option, and in fact other options were, really cool. Like,
I think,
would it spread out? Would it
all our trash would be on other worlds?
I don't think so. Because hold on, let me. I'm pretty sure it would only be poor people left on Earth. Because if you're rich, you'd have been able to leave.
I think that's probably true. I think that like there's several sci-fi franchises that made like Earth, at least on the ground, like the ghetto. The entire thing is the ghetto. Nobody lives there anymore that has any means. And I think you're probably right. I think if you had the ability to stretch out somewhere else, you would not stay in an overpopulated.
I think it depends what point of development you are, though, because you shoot a lot of colonists too, like a lot of shows and movies. With the opposite route, if you're poor, they start shipping you out on like cheap experimental craft. If you don't make it, it's like whatever. So they're just trying to seed areas with like these people
being shipped off to like mining colonies is a whole other thing.
Well, yeah, but think about also with like whenever the colonies were created in America, it wasn't always the rich elite. It was like a lot of people being persecuted, a lot of people trying to just get out of there and make their own stake somewhere else and make money.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's
a good point. Yeah.
It could go either way. It just depends on how that develops. So they have a lot of flexibility there with how they want to like twist the story of Earth. I think the biggest challenge I have is like what you guys dictated was like size and scale. Once you get to an asset in any video game that people are familiar with, especially
Yeah,
something
that's dangerous.
it's super
We're gonna
dangerous.
pick it apart.
We are
Yeah.
because especially in a game this type of fidelity and this type of graphics and stuff. I mean, are you going to settle for like a third of Earth or a fourth of Earth? I think it's going to be kind of like.
No. I really think that they should do
It's
the
gonna be
whole.
hard.
I think you guys are right. I think they should do like the scorched earth or the, semi blown up earth where there's huge chunks that are like uninhabited and like whatever. And you don't really go there for any reason. It's like there's parts that you might go to, but it's not. There's something happened there. There's something happened. There's some history there. It's way more interesting than.
I mean, we all know the Vandal attack. That's a perfect premise for destroying big chunks of Earth.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, absolutely. Anyway, so caves are cool. I think we've settled that.
I'm a little tired of the planets. I would like them to create a inhabitable giant head of a celestial giant, like in
Valerian.
Yeah, well, what was the movie?
Oh, you're thinking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. That I want to see that in Star Citizen. Like I know it's a little over sci-fi, like even for Star Citizen, it's a little high sci-fi, but something like that would be so cool. That's my favorite thing out of
my biggest takeaway from the cave scenario of what we see now is I hope that this isn't just relegated to moons. I hope we have these caves on asteroids. And I hope we get giant space worms so we could experience once again Star Wars moments in Star Citizen.
For sure.
It's a big old soon TM.
Yep, that's what I want. I want to be able to land my ship inside the wrong thing, and then a giant space worm tries to eat me out of the asteroid. That'd be great. That's what I want.
Yeah. I agree.
Perfect. All right. Well, we can move on to the beautiful, amazing, stupendous discussion they had today. Did you guys get to watch it for the?
No,
I don't think so.
I woke up just before your show.
Yeah, I was up pretty early, but it was basically called. I'll just give it
all of us.
I'll give a summary, and if any guys has any topics that they discuss in there they want us to talk about, don't forget you can always go with ~ questions in chat because Deepbot has some life in him still. Before we totally nuke them, but you can go in there and it'll link over to our page, and then you can ask those questions. So ! questions is toys linked in there. Basically, what they did was they had John Carew, and gosh, I can't remember the other guy's name now. I actually think I've talked to him before, but they had them discuss all things flyable. So it was basically not only about the flight model, the hover mode, but different questions and things surrounding all things flight. So it was a pretty good episode. I didn't get to watch all of it, but they spent a big chunk of it basically addressing the fact that they're kind of backpedaling on the hover mode thing.
Oh
Just
my God.
pisses me off, but
Fuggums has been throwing a fit since they took out hover mode. He was in love with the hover mode. I hate
like
the
it.
hover mode personally.
I like it.
I hate
I
it.
thought it was fine.
I'm of the school of get good.
Yeah.
So my opinion on hover mode is the one thing that it does that's paramount over all other things is stops ships from breaking the fourth wall, which is to say pointing straight at the ground.
Yes.
You're a giant ship, you're in a planetoid with gravity and air, and you can still somehow hover pointed straight at the ground like it's nothing. You're lifeless, you're frozen. Like that shit breaks the game for me, the immersion for me. So the fact that even if it was mostly automated, you have to remain horizontal and kind of like hover around, even if that wasn't difficult for a pilot to do, it's important that that they have to do that on near the surface so that you feel like you're on a planet.
It makes atmospheric fighting fun.
Yeah,
It makes killing those stupid turrets fun.
Yep.
Now, do you have to fly like a helicopter? I don't know if that's important,
I also kind of like that aspect of it.
I like the idea of it. I think that the execution was like Gen 1-ish. I thought they would evolve it, but it sounds like they're going to de-evolve it and just kind of make it,
Yeah, and then the complaint will be like, well, now it's too easy. And then hover mode, and I don't mind what they do with it, as long as they create some sort of balance like what they were attempting to do with hover mode. That's the part I'm worried about them walking away from. I don't want them to make it so a ship can just dominate the ground again. I want to make it more challenging where they have to, you know, as Tickle said, get good. If they want to try to hit ground targets, if they want to try to do those things, they can't just sit there and just camp you on the ground, because then there's no balance between air and sky at all.
Right. Well, and the difference between ships that have VTOL and don't, I always thought part of the DNA of the ship ecosystem that was important was some ships are at home in atmosphere and some are not. And
Correct.
Now, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. It should be up to the ship depending on its VTOLs.
Well, yeah, because you would think, based on physics, this is what's weird about the game, right? Based on the physics, because they're changing the physics of how the ships operate in atmosphere, but ships are designed to operate in specific physics, right? Like you would have VTOL thrusters to counteract certain aspects of atmosphere and all that. But now, like, they've already designed some ships. Now they're trying to go back and change the way the physics work in certain things. And I just feel like that is probably the biggest hangup I have that confuses me and frustrates me a little bit about the project. And it's going to happen because it's like a live development environment, as they constantly say, and all that stuff. But it feels like we go back and forth on basic things. Missile flight, right? That's why we had no missiles forever. Then we had too good of missiles. Then we had no missiles again. Now we kind of have something.
Too good of missiles phase.
The too good of missiles phase is where I was flying a Gladiator in Arena Commander, and like I think it was 2.3 or whatever, and we were just killing everything because you had no chance with guns. And everybody's like, you got to give gunners a chance. Remember that?
I was thinking you were more recent than that.
No. I'm talking way back. We're talking like, okay, here's 2.0. Here's the universe. Some people still playing Arena Commander stuff, but no. It's like we've gone back and forth, and I feel like that's really to the detriment of the ships and detriment of balance. And I know all things are going to be balanced and passed over time, but I think at some point we all have to realize there has to be some sort of sustained playability of the game for people to like stuff. Because right now they keep trying to take away different aspects of, they want us to still have the freedom to change out our ships a little bit, but the benefits of buying War Bond are slowly, you know, increasing, and the whole trade in your ship and get what you want is decreasing, right? Slowly but surely over time. They keep taking away your options to get things from credit trade in, or they're a little more expensive, or you can't quite do this. So what they're doing is they're starting to lock us into ship choices. And that I have a huge problem with, because as they lock us into ship choices, but they change physics, they change the ammo loadouts, they change all these things of ships that already exist in the game, I feel like it's going to just continue to frustrate people. So we got to have some sort of path. Yeah.
You can't have both.
You got to, if you give everybody choice, like what we had before, I have no problem, because it's like, oh, if I don't like this, I can dub that in, get credit, get this. Now they're starting to be like, well, you don't get LTI. And I'm like, okay. So that's an incentive to back the project. You don't get LTI. But as they keep going the route, like, well, you don't get LTI, and if you use credit, it's more expensive too. And it's this, and I feel like it's starting to slowly snowball that way. By middle next year, if they have like, you can only get stuff on War Bond, and they're still messing around with physics, and they're still messing around with weapons, I'm gonna have a big problem. Because
we knew that was going to happen eventually, but
it should.
I do think you can't have both.
Can't
have
exactly.
a game that's changing by the month,
right?
And force people to make a ironclad decision.
And that's my issue. Yeah, I don't care if you take away completely and it's only War Bond. But if you don't have physics locked down, and you don't have weapons, and you're making this drastic of changes on the decisions that we might have made 4 years ago, that I have a problem with. Big time. Because just wait till they don't let me get my buybacks.
4 years ago, the Heartseeker is like a prime example of how not to promote a ship. You know, you create a ship that's entire promotion is built around a meta, which I get it. It's fine that metas change. I promote the changing of metas in general, especially in PvP, but you can't promote a ship based on that, and then literally the second somebody can get into the cockpit of it, that entire meta has been dismantled. You can't charge them a premium for that, and then you eliminate their
option. Then you eliminate their option to change out of it. It's like, I'm going to sell you this car, but then I'm going to make that car basically inert. You can't even use it on the highway because it doesn't drive fast enough. It doesn't have the storage capacity, and I'm afraid I don't think they realize entirely the community reaction that will happen as they continue to go down that path. And I hope they don't continue to do that. And if they are going to start to take away more and more, which I totally support them doing, taking away that and just going war bond only, taking away buybacks eventually, but you have to lock in basics on the ship. You have to. Go ahead, Tickles.
One question, because we kind of got away from it before I could even ask.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think... Oh, that's just the nature of our show. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they changed hover mode because of people bitching or because they felt it wasn't what they wanted?
That's a good question.
I think both.
I don't think they changed shit for bitching.
That well, they haven't.
Have they ever done that?
Yeah,
they've started to more.
I almost feel like it was they got enough complaints that they're like, yeah, well, maybe this isn't quite what we wanted,
because they didn't feel solid about it, right? Like I feel like if Chris and everybody in the dev team felt 100% solid about hover mode, they would have stood their ground. They would have dug their heels in and be whatever. But I don't think they were 100% on it. Plus people bitching, they're like, let's check something else out. And that's honestly, I feel like as deep as it went, because I don't think they were fully committed to it. And that's the thing. If you're going to do these change ups, I understand it's a live environment, blah, 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 and all this stuff. But my only problem, and I'll keep coming back to it, is I'm making financial decisions to support the game based on what you're showing me. And if I can't mold and have options to change that out, and you start taking those away, I'm going to get pissed.
Yeah, that is really the only. There's only one rule for Star Citizen Club, and that rule is you cannot change how I fund the game, or you cannot lock down how I fund the game until I know exactly what I'm getting for my money. You just can't do that, like.
Yeah, at least to some degree. I mean, weapons getting nerfed, okay. Certain things getting nerfed, whatever. Physics of how everything operates and what their intention on what they're going to do in the game, like Redeemer, that's a little problem I have. It's like, oh, well, I know you bought this ship back when, but we don't know what it's going to do. And that's fine. Yeah. I can put it on buyback. I can get it back.
It should really matter to them anyway. If they look at themselves like a bank, why would they care? If you've invested money and the only thing you can't do is pull that money back out of the bank, they shouldn't care where you've decided to place those resources in.
But they don't look at it as a bank. They look at it more an investment firm, and they had to have new capital coming in.
Well, that's true.
Right? So that's the thing. And that's fine. But again, as you eliminate my choice, you have to have certain things locked in. So that way I can be like, okay, this is my moment. I need to make my final decision on what I'm doing. Here we go. And then I have like 30 days, 90 days, whatever. And I can arrange my fleet how I want. And this is the way the project's going moving forward. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
My big concern is they're doing this nickel and dime. It's $30 more. They're taking this away.
Same thing across the board. As long as they communicate and give us enough information, then it's fine. It's the same thing with updating us on the development of the game as it is with giving us things to buy. As long as they are clear and they communicate, it's fine. It's just when they don't do that, then everything gets jacked up big time.
Yep. I'll be honest though. Even if they clearly communicate, I'll have a problem with it if they haven't locked in physics of what they're doing. And at least the direction they're going.
Buying shit. You can't afford to do that if you're.
But then I'll feel like I'm holding on to a bunch of shit that I don't know if it's going to be what I want.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter what, you shouldn't be able to take an 890 jump and just freaking hover it upside down over, a planet's fucking land. You know what I mean?
I agree.
They needed to really do something. I mean, and that's what hover mode was supposed to do. So I agree they need some kind of hover mode, but I don't like not having control of my ships,
I have a question. How do you not have control of it?
I don't know, because
I have no problem with hover mode at all. So I feel in perfect control of my ship in hover mode because I've learned how to use it. Is it perfect?
I think the issue is
could it use a tweak? Yes.
Well,
should they scrap the whole fucking thing? I don't think so.
No, definitely not. Definitely. I assumed what I assumed would happen when they first came out with it is just, I was pretty forgiving of it because it was like a generation one mechanic. But
Right.
but I do think that the frustration came into the line at which point your ship just goes into hover mode and you are just sitting there. It was like an airspeed, and it's like, well, okay, but so now I have to stay above a certain airspeed.
Transitioning into is really weird.
I think
And out of on some ships.
Well, did you hear what the plan is now that they were talking about in only not only on the forums but in this? They were talking about the possibility of, and he said they were just throwing this out there, the possibility of just making that your thrusters don't work as well in atmosphere, so making them weaker.
It'd be like slower.
Yeah, absolutely.
They shouldn't. But that should be gravity induced, or because you're in atmosphere, not because I'm going to slider down your thruster power. That seems really weird to me, and I see that being a huge drama fest too.
Honestly, I think it should be more unforgiving. I think it should be when you don't know exactly what to do, just take a cue from real life and make it like if you go slow enough and haven't turned your own ship to hover mode, you fall out of the sky and you fucking die.
I agree 100%. Not the minute they mentioned the possibility of lowering your thruster power, I'm like, well, that seems artificial as hell. It doesn't even seem like
I don't like the way they're going with it, which is another reason I'm against them taking out hover mode.
Yeah,
I don't like the way they're going with it.
And that's the thing I say, Tickles. I don't feel like they have a better idea right now.
No,
I feel like they took it out and they're just going to roll the dice and figure it out. I'm like,
real life has better ideas. If you're in an atmosphere, just do what would happen in atmosphere. They love taking science into the engine. Like just do that.
What they want though is they want you to be able to get in your little Gladius and fly really low over the water. And Chris Roberts mentioned this himself. And at some point, they're going to make it so your engine trail will actually create wakes in the water. So they want you like flying really, really fast and low over the planet's surfaces. And with the hover mode, you cannot do that.
And I agree, it needs to be adjusted. But at the same time, the other extreme is when they take it off. Now I can park my ship right here and just kill your ballista. And I'm like, oh, so the ballista I bought was fucking useless.
Okay, so wait a second. I don't know whether Toy is saying the old hover mode or new hover mode that's coming in. Old hover mode, you could transition out of hover mode and fly as fast as you want close to the ground.
Just people didn't know how to do it though, Tickles.
You won't be able to.
Yeah, you won't be able to.
Which is
they said you'll be able to turn off your hover mode.
When
did they mention
and crash into the ground if you turn it off?
I think that
I think what we're going to get is going to be worse than what we had. Is all my only concern is all.
I agree.
I think people will get it and they'll be like, "What the hell's this?" It'll be just like the missile thing. It'll be just like the gun thing. It's like, well, what you gave us is worse than what we had.
The reality is I kind of enjoyed grappling with hover mode. The only time that I felt like it was frustrating in any way was when you were in a place that artificially blew you up when you went into the wrong place, which is in a city. If you were in a hover mode and you had to go into some hangar, but you were like drifting away into some other area, and you're like, I'm gonna just
that was the only problem I had. On regular moons and planets, I could land fine in hover mode. I had no problem with it at all. The only thing I had a problem was big ships like the 890 coming in and out of ArcCorp on the hangars a little bit. Landed in ArcCorp was a little bit tight. I made it happen. But it was a little problematic.
You could easily, people always give me a hard time about using auto land. I'm like, first of all, why would you not use auto land? It's, it's casual as you see.
They need more auto land support though for an 890 at ArcCorp. I'll tell you that.
You should be able to go high. You should,
I should be at the building height and it should tractor me in if you want to go that way.
I hate to tell people this, but airplanes right now, auto land, and you don't have to be right over the threshold to auto land. You auto land from like miles out. So the I would expect the same from year 3000. So I would like a little more of that, to be honest. But the in these populated areas, just let me auto land, and you won't have I understand if you wanted to turn auto land off, maybe. Why is my camera so on? Focus is not working.
It likes your logo a lot because it sharpens right on your monitor and then back at you.
Totally by design. Chad.
I thought you were doing a marketing thing. It's like it goes snake, logo, snake, logo.
Camera, please. But yeah, so yeah, I think that when you are wondering how the game's mechanics should play out, I feel like they should just take cues from IRL.
Yeah. And I feel like they do to a certain point.
One of my favorite things about the new hover mode was that no matter what altitude you were, if you're hovering, right? So I can't have just some fucking arrow doing zzz around my ship. You know what I mean? You have to be able to move. The arrow is at just as much of a disadvantage as you are, or vice, whatever, name your ship. So
I totally agree
have
with
a fucking chance with this stuff. You don't just have ship buzzing around you.
Yeah.
No matter.
Well, see, they don't want mosquito fighting. They don't want mosquito dogfighting, except unless you're in an alien ship that has thrusters for engine, and then that's okay. That's the advantage of those alien ships, and of course, with the advantage comes the price tag for the.
But I feel like with the old hover mode, I don't feel like they could mosquito fight that easily. I think it was harder to. And I like that. It was good. So like bigger ships, like when I had my Valkyrie and I got engaged, I purposely went in atmosphere because it was really hard for like an arrow or something to like get any ground to like just own me. You know what I mean?
One of the best, most entertaining dogfights in the new flight model has been atmospheric dogfighting because of the hover mode situation. If they change that, it could easily hurt the atmospheric dogfighting even more, because you don't have to make the decisions that you had to before, which is to say,
and that's what I'm worried about.
Slow down to nothing and be a turret. You can't do that.
Yeah, I felt with the old hover mode, I felt like I could actually leave if I was on the ground even. I felt like I could drive out of the landing area, outside the armist area, and I'd have a chance, right? It wasn't some guy on my butt that could just blow up a dragonfly or blow up a, I almost called it a warthog, cyclone real easy.
Well, right. But and you can, now there's going to be a toggle off button. You can turn off hover mode and be a mosquito again.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, oh, OP. So who's going to run hover mode if you have the option not to use it and be the mosquito pilot? Everybody's going to be the mosquito.
They should have left it in a lot longer and forced people to learn how to use it first before they took it out.
Tweak it like they said they were going to. Just keep tweaking it and adjusting it. But
I think it's easy. I think if you turn on hover mode, then you have a safety net. You stop and you hover in place and you're an easy target, but you can't like fly fast forward. And if you don't turn on hover mode and you slow down a certain amount, you fall to the ground and die. So like there's this decision that you have to make. It's all these everything that you do should come with a positive and a negative. This is why decisions are interesting, is because you gain in one area, you lose in another area. So the hover mode, you put your ship into hover mode, cool, now you can hover, but you give up the ability to go fast. You don't go into hover mode, well, you give up the ability to go slow. Like that's the
and making that conscious change is good. I'm just like, I don't want to give people everything they want and just let it, because then they're always going to choose the easier path.
I think they'll get there. I think at the end of the day, what the long game is a true sort of flight sim type of a physics model in atmosphere. I think that's where they would like to go eventually, where you have stalling and you have resistance and you have different types of characteristics to ships like that in Atmo. But I think that's ways down the line. So they're trying to figure out an interim solution.
Yeah, and Kato asked a fair question in chat. He says, has anyone really tested out the aerodynamic aspects of different ships? I don't know that anybody's
I have a little bit.
Yeah, have you? Like, what was your results from that? Like, what did you determine?
Various, like the Gladius is way better in atmosphere than the Arrow. Stuff like that. The Hornet kind of sucks in atmosphere. I mean, they operate a little differently. It's not stuff that you're like, wow, this one has a clear advantage, but they feel different.
There are differences. The question is, at least when I tested them, are the differences from they haven't done a pass on the new flight model on that ship, or is it because they designed the ship to perform differently in Atmo? So that's what I'm not clear about for sure.
Yeah, it's a big question. For those guys that are wanting the link to that diagram with the ship sizes, I've linked it a couple times, the post in Reddit that has it. So if you guys are interested in getting that, you can scoop that up. It's posted by, who is it? Mo Striff on Reddit there. I think he used a poster. I assume he's a creator too, but you never know these days.
Money, mo problems.
That's right.
Hey-o.
That's the way it goes. All right, let's go.
Wish I had more problems.
Me too.
Yeah, those type of
Me,
problems
I
are
just
nice
have
to have.
problems and no money.
I feel that. Yep.
I got a vehicle that took a shit right after the engine was rebuilt, so it's. But I don't have enough money to take it back to the mechanic if he does actually charge me. So
Feels bad, man.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I had a guy. He passed my vehicle for me. It's like fast inspection. That's what I needed.
Nice.
Because otherwise, it
Like,
wasn't
he-
going to happen.
He like walked it to the afterlife for you.
Yeah, I looked at my wife goes, well, do you have money to get new tires in the car? And I was like, I looked at my $250 Twitch paycheck, and I was like, we could get like 1.5.
Get a tire.
Get a tire.
Get a donut.
Get a tire on there.
Which one is the worst one?
Yeah. So yeah, it's like
I've
rotate
done that
around.
before, where you buy 2 tires because that's all you can afford.
Yep.
Yep.
You guys like, well, when are you coming in to replace the other ones? I'm like, I don't know. When the fuck are you giving me $400?
We figured we just wear down the other two and make a match that way.
Some
So
places don't even let you buy one tire because it's like it's gonna fuck up your car.
oh,
if
the
you just buy
places
one
I
tire.
go to, they do. They'll let you buy one tire, and it might not be new, but it'll be okay, and he'll guarantee it for at least 2 weeks. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
You
Oh
know,
my goodness.
I'm looking at this chart, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but this is sort of relevant in that some ships have this incredibly huge amount of popularity, but the Carrack is obviously a favorite of a lot of people. But now that we have an 890 jump in the fleet, it brackets things, right? It shows you what the large end can accomplish with its spaces, and then we've got the other ships. So, you look at where the Carrack sits, and I don't, without any of its gameplay in the universe,
I was just about to say that.
you gotta wonder. You're like, I know a lot of people really want that ship, but I feel like when in the game you currently sort of fight or walk around and enjoy the space you have, the Idris falls into that place where it's a military ship, but also is big enough for until the military shit is available, you can do things. There's room for activities, but the Carrack is not like that, Chad. I mean, the Carrack is a very utilitarian. It's like a submarine in space. Its job is to get out there on the edges of the battle space, but it's not there to make you feel comfortable while you're doing it. And
That's right.
I don't know if you're going to feel like it's fun to fly around until it's got a job.
And I feel that way about a lot of ships, but I'd also say that I think a lot of the community's gotten to the point where they've bought these things. And I think the Carrack is one of the most highly owned ships, probably across the board of that price range, right? Tons of people own Carracks. And I think it's more about the fact that people just want the shit they've paid for. That's it. I don't think it's deeper than that. I think people kind of want, just like the 890. Like, what the hell are you going to do with 890 now? You're going to cruise the one solar system? Well, you can. It's going to cost you a lot of money until they fix the fuel bug. And we all think it's cool, but already we're seeing a decline on people wanting to jump into it just a few weeks after we've touched it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I could not wait for that ship to come out.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, sweet, I have one, and it's in the game.
And you're ready for what's next. What's next?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, that's just the fickle nature of us as humans. But I mean, I think in the game itself, I think the 890 jump may kill the hype for a lot of people with the Carrack, because
I think it's going to kill the hype of a lot of things.
So. No
I
way.
do.
The Carrack is the
explore-
cheaper 890.
We're gonna it's what? No,
Because-
it's not. The cheaper
because-
890 is the 600i. The Carrack is
Nobody
smaller
likes
than
a 600i.
That's
600i.
not true. No. What's happening with the 890 jump is exactly what happened with the
I agree with Toy.
690.
No one likes the 600.
I'm going to agree with
Everybody's
Snake
the
just because.
600i is
Just
just
start a
a
fight.
luxury ship. Why would anybody buy that? And now the 890 jump is out, and everybody's like, the 890 jump, more like the 890 luxury does nothing, right? Am I right? And it's like, no, it's like it's
Luxury's supposed to do
interest.
nothing.
It does
Is
more,
RP
more
Dream
in an
the 890 is.
jump than you can do in any other fucking ship. So the 600i actually has an exploring variant, and it is bigger than the Carrack. If you look at it, it's shorter than the Carrack, but if you look at the interior spaces, you are not going to feel like you're going to want to live on a Carrack. It's a submarine. So I think that the 600i is already in the game, and it's already like, I don't know what, I can't remember what
The 600i is being reworked because everyone hated it.
I've never liked the
is so good.
600i.
Well, there's no reasons to hate it, in my opinion. There's lots of reasons to like what it does. I think there's reasons to want parts of it reworked.
Well, I think the thing that really exposed it even worse, though, is the 890. They knew the 890 was coming out, and they had to rework 600 because it's like, oh, well, the 600 represented your luxury ship. Now that we have a real luxury ship, what's a mid-size luxury ship, right? Is it a Toyota Camry? I mean, you know what I mean?
The 890J.
Is it a Lexus? You know,
no, it's a BMW 5 Series to your BMW 7 Series.
Okay, but look at the 890J.
Yeah.
Look at the mistakes made on the 600i, and those mistakes would have been made on the 890J had they not made the 600i.
And I agree.
I agree.
But it's just like, you know, we're going to suffer from this all the time. If you are the type of pilot that is going to drive the whole D and the whole E is out and it's attainable really close to the same price point, everybody's going to get the whole E and nobody's going to drive a D.
Well, and they're going to be stupid because you're not going to be able to fill a fucking E.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, that's what people's egos and what they want. They just want the big thing. There's very few people in this game I talk to that are thinking like we do about roles. Like, I need this tool for this job that I want to do in the game. They want either the thing that's going to be the biggest, baddest of whatever that genre is, right? Or they want the thing that they can afford that's the biggest, baddest within that genre.
Well, of course, it's just like, you know, sex organs. The bigger, the better is what most people can think is the reality. But the point is that the reason people would want the biggest hull E or hull D rather is because it should be nigh immortal, just like the 890 should. I know that's a controversial statement. Some people think it's already too difficult to kill or something, which is absurd to me. But for everything to work and for you to believe that like a big ship is a big ship, it's got to be difficult to kill. So
it's a capital class ship. You shouldn't be able to kill it with one fucking saber.
So the hull D, the reason to get a hull D, even if you can only fill a quarter of it, is that you don't have to worry about shit. But its operating costs may make it harder to make a profit on. So you're right about that. But the 600i, the point you brought up, which is the 890 jump. Now that the first capital ship is in the game, we're getting the first taste of why maybe you don't want that biggest ship. Like if you are an Origin fanboy, let's say, and you could afford to buy either the ship 600i or the 890 jump. I really firmly believe that, especially when they rework the 600i, you might be better served buying a 600i because you can go places that you cannot go with an 890. It's much more utilitarian, especially the Explorer variant. Yet it retains all of the large, livable, features that the 890, you would choose the 890 for. So I think it's cool to see the bracketing and to see a value in medium-sized ships because it gives you sort of the hybrid,
Yep. All right. Let's find out what everybody's doing this weekend, and then we're going to get into these questions. If you have additional questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, as some of you guys have spouted off in chat there, please put them in the actual Google Doc that I have up. So you do that by putting an exclamation mark questions, and it'll give you a link. Just type it in there. It makes it a lot more organized so we can hit each one of your questions. That would be awesome sauce. There was a great one that I hope he puts it in there for me about basically the elephant in the room question. If you were the person who asked that, put that in there because that was really good. I think. Oh yeah, I see. Cadzilla put it in there. That's good. That's a good question. It'd be a good topic. So let's start out with Toy. What you got going on the rest of this tonight and the weekend and all that stuff and through next week? What's your plans stream wise?
Well, I plan on streaming later tonight after the show. I want to get over and watch the Star Citizen live and get into my phone.
You've
told me my emails. I thought it was funny, so I set it up a long time ago. When I get a security alarm at my other house, I get intruder alert on it too. So I have them all set up with a bunch of different little sound effects. I thought it was fun. But so I'll be streaming later tonight. Star Citizen Live. Been playing Star Marine every single night and been loving that. So we'll definitely be getting into Star Marine and just been streaming just about every single night now. So having fun.
Cool.
So that's the plan.
All right, Tickles, how about you? What's your plan for the rest of the weekend/week? What's going on?
Well, Igo and I are going to go to the Renaissance Festival tomorrow and
Awesome.
Get drunk and judge people. Best thing to do there ever.
I better dress up in RP and drink mead. God damn it.
Yeah, well, we do dress up. I wear a kilt, and it's supposed to be a nice breezy day tomorrow.
Jealous. Don't stand downwind of Tickles, chat.
Hey, I shower every morning.
All good.
And walking around Renaissance Festival. Period accurate.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be stinky as possible. And so yeah, after that, Sassy Saturdays, of course, tomorrow night with the Sass Master herself, and then I don't know, Sunday, whatever, normal stream on Sunday.
Nice. Right on. Snake, how about you, buddy?
Well, I am probably going to be streaming a bunch more Borderlands 3. I am I'm grateful to it for rescuing me from the WoW Classic grind for a little while. Mm-hmm. The other thing is some games have really figured out Twitch integration. Most Twitch integrations are ridiculous, like clown show bullshit. But the Borderlands stuff is so cool, and I couldn't get it working yesterday. Apparently, it just required a stream restart. But I'm really excited to get chat involved in, creating, encounters and experiences in Borderlands 3, and the game is I'm just a huge fan of.
Yeah, I signed up for that stuff. I haven't tried it myself either yet. I want to see what all that does. Like, supposedly you can get other mobs to come at you and all sorts of things. Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm excited.
And I think chat can even earn loot if they play the game. They can even learn loot by watching you and participating as well. So it's such a cool idea. It's so well executed.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it's so refreshing to play a game that you're like every few minutes you're chuckling at some really
the dialogue's amazing in that.
It's so good.
It's really good. And I honestly, a lot of people that were watching me play the other night, they were like, "Oh, this is just like Borderlands 1 and 2, blah blah blah." I actually feel good that I didn't play Borderlands 1 and 2. I watched other streamers do it, but I never played it. So I feel like it's super fresh to me, and I really am enjoying it a lot. It's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a sequel, so I mean, you wouldn't want it to not look like those things or have the humor of those other games, but it is a new story and it has new characters, and if those are the things you're looking for, then it's going to be right up your alley. If you love Borderlands, you're going to love Borderlands 3. So playing more of that, definitely gonna be playing a little more WoW Classic, but as we get close to 3.7, we'll be getting into PTU as well. So.
Absolutely.
What server are you on?
Holy crap.
Smolderweb.
No Wimp's going crazy in the chat. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
Gosh.
Very nice of you.
Gifted subs.
Yep.
That requires
yeah, one of those.
Let's get some hype.
Yeah, Borderlands 3 looks cool. With
it's fun.
CitizenCon coming up this close, I didn't want to spend an extra $100.
Oh my god,
right?
That's fair. Oh, well, you went to the
VIP event too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I am short on funds. So
fair enough.
I feel that.
Fair enough.
Things are tight. I got Disney coming up. I still got to figure out how I'm gonna get the kids droids and get me a lightsaber.
Oh God!
Hey,
come on!
At least you'll be able to get your little drink containers on the plane coming home now. Did you see that?
No.
That the FAA banned those freaking little
the Rorqual glasses and stuff.
Cups.
Oh, did they?
They were. Yeah. So at Disney, when you go to the little Star Wars thing, they have these little drink cups, and they're the little grenades. And the FAA freaking said the airplanes couldn't have them. Here. But then they went back and said, "All right, we're going to allow them."
Well, you guarantee, because Mickey Mouse got on the phone and said, "Look, bitches, we got to have these drink cups on there because people are paying like $20 a pop for those things."
Yeah, Disney called the president and was like, "Hey, listen, we own everything, so you're going to need to roll that back."
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, what do you guys think of Disney Plus?
Oh, I'm excited.
I think. I'm a fan
it's $6.99,
of all on-demand shit, period. If it's on demand, a la carte, send it.
That's the thing right there. If it was just like, hey, And I feel like Netflix is starting to fall off a little bit. They got some shows, but I feel like they're kind of. I really do. They got some stuff
Disney
coming out.
is pulling everything Disney
Yes.
and Marvel from Netflix.
All the MCU's getting pulled and all that stuff. So they'll have to come up with more content, which is good.
Great content,
and they will. But I'm saying right now, as of like the last 2 months, Netflix is kind of.
It's make no mistake, it's a huge hit to all content providers when Disney pulls their shit off of their platforms. It's a huge hit for their stuff. But
so are we gonna
about it?
What's that?
What I hate about it is everybody is charging now. You know what I mean? So instead of getting it all in one place, now it's $5 here, $5 there, $10 here.
Yeah, but the irony is you're still paying less than cable. You're still you could get 10 streaming services and it's still cheaper than cable.
And to be fair, like when Discovery comes out each season, I just like rent it. I just like pay for it for a month. And I binge like all of Star Trek Discovery, and then I'm like unsub CBS Access. I'm like, that's good.
So here's the thing that Disney did. They gave an option. It's gone now, I think.
Yeah.
But they originally gave an option to opt in early and pay $140, which is like $340 a month for 5 years.
Yeah.
For 5 years of fucking content.
I didn't see that.
They said themselves that Disney Plus will not turn a profit until 2026 or something like that.
On that. Yeah, but they're
on their content, because they're creating originals. They're
dumping a lot of money into it.
They're pulling all of their shit from other people that were just giving them money to play it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big thing for them.
And the other fun stuff is the original content. Like one thing that streaming has unequivocally done for everybody is create a platform for content that would have never been made if it needed to get broad distribution.
Yes.
And it's like Netflix has shows that are awesome and would never have been made before because they don't have to give a fuck about the FCC.
Yeah.
You know, the all these streaming services, HBO for years has been making top shelf shit because they don't they don't have to worry about the censorship bullshit. They're like, you know what, we're doing our own thing, so get fucked. It's just really liberating in that regard. So hopefully, it just continues to create stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, you wouldn't have niche shows like, The Mandalorian coming out on that. You wouldn't have all these shows.
The Obi-Wan show that's going to
be
coming out.
The Obi-Wan show. Yeah. And, and if the on-demand content on that thing is what I think it's going to be perfect because the kids are going to be able to watch anything they want. Like just
any Disney crap.
Stuff now that we have to pay $20 to have it on a digital format to wait for. Yeah. They're going to be able to do it on demand. That's 100%. That's worth it more than all the other stuff I have combined.
Yeah, all those books and stuff that they create out of the Star Wars universe and stuff are all free game now because the cost of bringing it to market is so much lower than having to pay it, CBS or whatever they'd have to pay.
Absolutely, it's really good. All right, let's dive into this stuff.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. We got a good amount here. We got about 10 so far, so we'll go into this
Netflix Star Citizen series. I mean, to be honest. Like Escape from Tarkov has made a live action thing. So I mean, why not?
As long as CIG didn't produce it because it'd never get done. It's like we're still waiting for episode 1, season 1.
Ideas, chat. We got to stop it. Yeah. But they've already gotten the big actors. All they got to do is convince them to do like live action shit.
What Chris would do, he'd say, well, we got to wait till AI's done because we're going to CG all the AI into the series. So that way it's actually our characters from the game performing the other stuff. So it would take you
snake oof in chat, please.
Yeah, it'd be so bad. It'd be crazy. All right. Zafuro, he says, do we have tunnel in ArcCorp using the same tech as caves with different set being able to connect the train
that's an interesting one.
Or bus between major landing zones or area around ArcCorp? Yeah, that'd be cool to have tunnels in there.
That would be cool.
You know what?
An underground system.
Do you think they'll do something with that? You think we'll see some underground systems or something in ArcCorp?
Not with cave tech, but with space station or with truck stop interior tech. Maybe, yeah.
For like not necessarily underground, but under the surface level of buildings.
Yeah.
right? Because like look at Coruscant.
Yeah.
Coruscant was like 300 or 400 stories tall or something.
Yeah.
And the buildings you saw were on that 300th floor. You know what I mean? That's where everything else below them was. As farther you went down, the more ghetto it was. That's all there was to it. So that'd be kind of cool to have like an undercity just feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Combined.
I'd just be
really
seeing
cool to just do a full-size city on
Where
a
that
planet
dark
that's
shit,
underground.
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
Combined
really neat.
cave tech with truck stop tech.
Oh, now you're blowing my mind, man. Now you're blowing my mind.
We're having a crazy generated baby is what we're having right
Yeah.
now.
I hope Chris Roberts is watching this right now.
He's right now. He's over there at the side. He's going, "Oh man, I got this. We're gonna get this done."
He's like, tack on another 3 years.
Yeah.
On Monday, there's gonna be like, hey, we were watching the SpaceBro Show, and I'm gonna need you guys to be able to combine those two technologies together.
Absolutely.
They all quit.
Knock it out. All right. Next question from Bullet Man says, "Do you think Squadron 42 was delayed because they haven't locked in the flight model? I think they know they can't have a vastly different flight model in Squadron 42 than they do in the PU."
No, I don't
So-
think it's delayed.
From going to this event, the only thing they're worried about with Squadron 42 right now is the AI. That is their major concern with
hot
everything.
take.
Everything else, if you look, is just version 2 polish stuff. It's the AI that they're really, really worried about. So if anything pushed it out, it's the AI.
Yep. The Westworld robots are
Yeah.
not responding correctly.
Toy with the hot take from the VIP event.
The
Love
inside knowledge.
Yeah, I think I think that the actual truth of it is the reason the entire flight model got reworked in the first place was because it did not serve Squadron 42 properly.
Perhaps.
I think it's because we got a lot of crybabies in the community that can't get good. That's what I
Can't
think.
even land a fucking ship.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, wait a minute,
Right up
where's
there.
my
How's it
autopilot? Everybody's playing a little too much Rebel Galaxy where you can like ram into an asteroid and it'll suck you in automatically through.
People just don't like getting blowed up.
Yeah. Like,
you
man,
know,
I
it's the
just
reality
want
of
to
it.
fly and shoot the guns and then I should just be able to go and button stuff. But whatever.
That was the weirdest.
Things happen.
I don't know why Cletus is a space pilot in the first place.
I
but-
know. Well, you know, there's good
Oh,
Mama
I
told me
was
there's good
flying
money in
my-
space.
I was flying my ship through space and Loretta called. She said she was cheating on me. Peter, what am I gonna do?
I see up there, like Cletus up there selling Comcast. Oh,
Cleveland is the only
Cleveland,
celebrity
yeah.
impression I could do.
that's it.
Why
You do a good one.
It's so
cartoon
good.
Black man, I have no idea, but
It's so good.
Zafuro then asks, he says, how will the new pilot assist help us do hero landings? I assume that means
Not at
coming in
all.
hot, doing the OP awesome stuff.
Coming in hot.
I think it's going to be worse than the current hover mode because you're not gonna have the thruster power at the bottom end.
Yeah, I think that was the thing I was looking forward to with the helicopter mode. Like when they were talking about it behaving like a helicopter.
Yeah.
Clearly, the first thing I thought of was a Valkyrie coming in hot like a Black Hawk. And
Yeah,
I was gonna say, dude, I know you know about fucking hot infills.
man, I was driving by the airfield just yesterday, maybe the day before that, and I saw sometimes the Blackhawks will be doing like check rides or something, and it looks like they're about to fucking die.
They're just coming in.
coming hot toward the ground.
Yeah.
They're like, that Blackhawk is about to burn in right there, and I'm like,
and then
"Drive."
there's the fucking flare.
And then they're like, boom, and I'm like, because they were practicing their engine out or their super high,
Those would
speed
Those would be called
egresses.
auto
Or
rotations.
ingresses, yeah, auto rotation. So like that shit is so awesome. And I was like, when they said helicopter type stuff with their ships, Valkyrie doing that was what I was thinking. But I don't think it's going to be possible with the new flight model.
Nope.
Not until they get a little more hardcore with like how you have to fly at low speeds.
Nope,
Yeah.
they took the fun stuff away.
Yeah.
I think they should just add parachutes to everything. You just cut off the engine. Good luck.
Oh, Jesus.
Here I come in. You're just a glowing white hot ball, and it's like parachutes. Good
Give
luck.
everybody jetpacks and be done with it.
That's it. Drop pods. You just let the ships explode.
I was gonna say you can't have parachutes because how likely is it many worlds are gonna have exact atmospheres that a parachute's gonna work in?
That's true. It'd still be funny.
Imagine your face thinking the parachute's going to work great, and then you're like, "Oh, there's not very much air."
Yeah,
Shit.
it looks like a streamer.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, not having a little thin atmosphere here. Zafiro that asks, he's like, do you think the auto hero landing could be possible to add pilot assist to? Like, could you configure that somehow?
I mean, if they wanted to go easy mode, I think it would be less cool than hard mode, but it would still be cool. I mean, hero landings are always cool.
I think they should just make it where I add a button on my Stream Deck and I just push it and it makes some awesome, cool landing by itself.
If that's what we're reduced to, then so be it.
Then we'll just sit down with cameras on the ground and be like, look at that, it's awesome. He's doing the auto hero landing.
We got to make our YouTube content somehow.
That's right. No skill. All macro. Be perfect. Mista says, haven't followed the game in a few years. How's the Banu Merchantman looking? Any new info?
Totally in the game, ready to go.
Yeah.
You should come back right now.
You can actually park one inside the 890 now. So
You have to find it. It's a secret, though, to buy it. It's in a secret location. You have to find it.
Yeah.
True story.
100%. All right, next question.
About 1 hour. It should be about 1 hour.
Yeah. Cadzilla asks, can you guys address the elephant in the room, please?
Look, I know I've put on a couple pounds.
Jesus, yeah, I was gonna say I haven't eaten that much.
Hey man, I gotta get on an airplane here in a month, and I'm not looking forward to it because I don't know if I'm gonna wedge my fat ass in there. Because
how many seats do you have to buy?
Well, my son's skinny, so I'm hoping to sit by him, and then I can armrest it.
Don't come up. I don't know how they sell multiple seats for airplanes.
Yeah,
that is offensive for Famous Dave's to supply.
Anyway, so he goes, are us peons with starter packs or slightly above looking at a game that we can really be a part of when it goes to beta and beyond? Or is the alpha model of people paying a lot for ships to support the development going to carry forward, and we're all going to be left behind? Good question. Basically, he's asking, he's saying, so all the people that just have starter packs or a single ship in the game, are they actually going to be relevant in this game when it goes to beta and beyond, or is it just going to continue with the current model, in his opinion, where it's just an alpha model of people paying a lot for big ships, and then they're going to get left behind?
Here's the thing that nobody seems to grasp. Right now, our community, compared to what's going to happen when this game gets advertised and released, is tiny.
Yeah.
There's going to be millions of freaking people coming to play this game. We're going to be, just a blip in a sea of people in playing Star Citizen. And yes, we'll have big ships, but 99% of everybody else will be running around in little ships. So they will always be relevant.
Yeah, I would make the argument that the bigger the ship you fly, the much more specialized its function, to the extent that you do less and less. And that can be seen right now if you look at the PvP of the game, even in the prior flight model. The popular ships are a rotation of maybe, half a dozen at most, maybe 3 or 4, to be honest. And right now it's even smaller than that. The people who do the most things and have the most fun fly the smallest, most general purpose ships. Maybe some of the fighters are arrows and stuff, but the reality is, Gladius arrows, maybe slightly bigger, like the Drake, the Drake ships are. Those are the people who are doing the widest spectrum of things in the game. If you are buying an 890, if you're buying a Banu Merchantman, you're buying an Idris, what do you think you're doing while you're flying that thing? You're doing one thing, and that's managing that ship. You're doing nothing else.
The other thing. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Ben Lesnick mentioned it a long time ago, that within 8 or 9 hours of you playing the game, you will be transitioning out of your starter ship. So 8 or 9 hours in a game is nothing. I mean, we'll be doing that.
Right now, half the rooms or people on YouTube are going, who's Ben Lesnick?
Yeah. Well, two things. First of all, I agree with what Toy said. I always tell people, how often do you keep starter gear in any MMO ever? Not very long. You're going to be out of that quite quickly if it, is a traditional MMO. The other thing I have to say is, just because I have a Hull D, a Hull E, even a Hull C, you think I'm going to start out with my starter money hauling that much fucking cargo? No way. Even if you have all these big ships, you're not just going to be able to take them out and be like, oh, he's got such an advantage because he has a Hull E.
And if you can, we're all going to be really disappointed.
Fuel the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that people, like Toy said, have it backwards. The more money you spend in the game, the bigger your ship is, the smaller the game you're buying is. And I understand the economy of it kind of is a misleading. It feels like, they say end game ships, and like you decide what you want to do. It's like a skill tree or talent tree, for example. As you approach the end of the talent tree, you've invested to an extent that you really are really good at one thing and you are bad at everything else. It's like that with end game ships. You've decided to go down a path that makes you very formidable in one specific role, but not at all in any of the other roles. So I think that the game for most people will be best enjoyed with much smaller ships, to be perfectly honest. There may be very valuable versions of small ships that you have to work toward, but I don't think you even necessarily want big ships as an average player.
And the other thing is, this is a large part of what I see people with large ships and people that aspire like me to have large ships, because I want them, not because, hey, I want to have the biggest ship and say I have the biggest ship and that's it. I want to play with other people. Most of the ships that I want, there is no way I can crew it by myself. It's an impossibility.
Yeah. And people that want those ships are community builders.
That's right. Even if I bought AI, even if all that, it'd be boring. It'd be lame. I wouldn't want to do that. The whole reason I would want to own those ships is so I can have people and have that interaction and have that drama and have all that stuff happen with multi-crew. That's the entire reason I want Star Citizen to succeed, is multi-crew. And that's something that even players right now, especially, I've talked to one guy the other day, he owns nothing but fighters just so he can fly his own fighters and stuff. But he is approaching it more as a single player, in a universe. And you can do that in Star Citizen, especially right now. But that's not what I want. That's why we all get concerned about things like server meshing and player caps and stuff like that, because we want those multiple people. We want to be able to have the experience where I have maybe 5 of my main guys on the bridge with me, but maybe we don't have enough crew for all the guns. So I got to contract some other players or AI or something come there, and drama can happen. You're living on this vessel. You have other experiences. I want that.
Yeah.
I think the meat and potato ships will be your freelancer size ships.
Absolutely.
Oh yes. Small to medium for sure.
But you're not going to be able to afford to drive the Javelin all over, even if you own one.
Yeah.
Which you can see that in a lot of the reason that they've focused on a lot of the ship sizes that they have so far, aside from coming out faster in the pipeline, is because you have a choice. You can solo the ship, or you can get some kind of meaningful multi-crew play out of the ship as well, depending on if you have a friend or not. So, in the future, I think that decision will be like, just look at 2 very, very different size ships. You've got the Hawk, the Anvil Hawk, and you've got an Idris. And you might say the Idris is this epically huge warship. That's the one I want. If you own the warship, unless you are going to be the pilot of said warship, you're going to have to find people to fly it. Think of what Rex does right now. Think of if Rex had an Idris and he couldn't convince anybody to fucking fly the thing.
It just has to be.
He's going to be sitting at the driver's seat.
That's right.
While everybody does combat ops on the ground and has an awesome time and has epic stories, and he's going to be like, well, the planet looks cool from up here, and he won't be able to participate in any of that. So he's basically going to be resourcing or managing the resources to keep that ship going, and that's the job of a captain of a ship, is to
herding cats every day.
Shit. Yeah,
oh God, yes.
Like think of people don't realize, if you haven't tried to get more than like 3 people to do anything in Star Citizen, you don't understand how remarkable what Rex does is, because he does it with like 30 to 50 people
I don't understand
every
day.
I'm telling you, it is a pain in the ass.
When we did that, it took us the whole week of hyping it up to get the people to show up on the weekend, and we only did it a couple times. He does it on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. So then you contrast that job of having to be like a human resources person, a manager of people, with the sexy like bounty hunter lifestyle of the Hawk. You're a man on a the motorcycle of the universe. You by yourself. You got a rifle in the back.
Hold on 1 second. I want to capitalize on the man on the motorcycle of the universe. That's a fucking saying right there.
You know, you're on your own out there. You're hunting prey. You got a gun and a hope and a bounty, and like, which one of those would you rather do if you really?
And what's the sexier story? The individual experiencing something like that, whether he's alone or doing that, or you're part of a team on a ship accomplishing a goal. If your story inside Star Citizen is, hey, I'm going to go crew an Idris and buy nothing but AI just because I can, who gives a crap? Like that, if that's what you're into, that's great. But I don't think that's an epic story. I mean, that's like, I have a bunch of robots controlling my stuff and I just drive around. And I'm like, I want people. I want that interaction. I want,
Same.
we did stuff. I mean, that's really what it takes to make it a cool story for me, and
the whole reason I started streaming was so I could find other people to play this game with.
Yep.
That was the whole point of me starting streaming.
Yeah, it's a natural progression for some people. Like community builders and streamers tend to be that to get a big ship where everybody can congregate and do stuff. But it takes effort so that you aren't the one stuck, babysitting the ship while everybody goes and does fun shit. So I mean, it's I really think that people don't realize how much of a burden a big ship could be in the end.
Yep. After all the flash and stuff, it's like, oh, it's cool. It's like, it's kind of like, it's also to me like being a limo driver, like, looks cool when it pulls up, but being the guy who sits with the car ain't very much fun where everybody else goes in the club. It's like,
I think the advent of smartphones changes that, but
maybe a little bit.
Like, would you rather watch Top Gun about Maverick flying a fighter jet, or would you rather watch Commander whatever be the commander of an aircraft carrier? You know why there are no movies about fucking commanders of aircraft carriers? It's because it's boring as shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing
they're just good for the little cameos, and like saying, don't do that.
Well, you know what there might be a movie about? All those fucking Navy ships that just crashed into each other recently.
True.
So
the bumper boats,
those commanders might have something going for them.
Yeah. There might be a shift in management. Yeah.
I mean, it's already going to be bad enough with upkeep on these stupid things once they get that rolling. You know what I mean? Can you imagine upkeep on a big ship, Idris and Javelin size?
Well, and then I'm going to call him out in chat too. Val's in chat, and me and Toy played with Val for years. Val has a huge number of large ships and stuff, but he gets them explicitly so we're all going to play together. He has no desire to be a captain on any one of the ships he owns at all.
Exactly.
It's because he knows he doesn't want to just sit there and be stuck with a boat. That's not what he wants. Yep. So, I mean, if you're taking that approach, I think you're on the right path. If you're the guy that thinks you're going to hoard all the things, you're going to be sitting really lonely. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a huge crisis of like money management really quick.
Yep. True.
All right, moving on. Zafuro asks, he says, do you think if we add docking collar access in the 600i, change the utility of the ship to docking on station and on the 890 jump? I don't get the sentence exactly, but so if we add the docking collar access, you want to change it to a utility ship? Is that what the word is? Weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand it either, but I would say that that the 890 jump introducing docking collar mechanics is really valuable. I think that it clearly in the real world, and as you can see in the 890 jump, is just a logical way to park ships and get in and out of them. So I think it's
because there's 4 fucking places to spawn a ship, an entire solar system is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with the 890 jump, it's kind of refreshing to not need to use an elevator. I didn't really realize until I could get out of the 890 jump through a collar. I'm like, can we stop using the fucking elevators already? Like, this is, I get it. You need them sometimes, like on the ground, you put the landing gear down and you got to get like,
and it looks cool, right? It looks cool the first time, but when you're waiting like 20, 30, 40 minutes, like every time it's like,
we don't even do that with like airliners. We have docking collars for airliners.
Yeah.
Don't go down the airliner.
What do you guys think of that commercial with the docking collar coming out of the arc?
Oh, the gangplank that comes out the side of it in the commercial, that was dope. I would have loved that. Like, I just awesome. As long as I can get off with my margarita or glass of wine, you know, it's like oh, the Gatsby. It looks so lovely.
They had like auto landing all over the place, and you could create stuff like that.
Really it's a one-button hero landing for elites.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have to worry like, oh well, how is a player gonna like get it in there perfect and like make it so?
Can you imagine the few doing that? Like,
oh Jesus Christ!
Coming in with the whole here comes the gangplank. He just like rips the building in half.
I love that dude.
Oh my god!
For shit.
He's so good. I just picture it now.
I'll replace that. I'll come back with the chip.
Oh my! It's like oh yeah, that didn't work. Oh my gosh! And Zervero, we basically answered the next one where he's talking about the 890 jump trailer, where it's like, could that be a feature with the docking gangplank coming out?
It will be someday.
I hope so, because it's really cool.
Absolutely,
really good. He then asks, do you think the community is, I assume that's obsessed by ship docking and transformer ships?
Ship docking needs to happen. Maybe he's talking about the Hull series.
I think he's talking about like ships that kind of morph or articulate and stuff. Or we like have a unhealthy obsession with that.
Need ship docking, ship to ship has to happen apparently before ship to station, and then it's a progression, right? Did you guys notice that in the what you call it there, the roadmap, they took out the whole fucking cargo space stations?
Sure,
they're gone. Where the fuck did they go? What's the Hull C gonna do? The Hull C is getting introduced in 3.8, which is gonna get pushed. I mark my words now.
It's gonna do exactly what the Carrick's gonna do when it comes in.
Well, what about the Reclaimer doesn't do anything right now,
but the entire feature set of the Hull C, and yes, I know the Reclaimer story. I get it.
Yep.
But cargo's in the game already. It's not like.
But just wait. When they add the mechanic for the Reclaimer, it's going to be one little laser beam that comes out. Nothing really happens. It's like, oh look, we salvaged. And everybody's going to go, what? It's like, oh, don't worry, guys. It's tier 1. Tier 1 salvage. It's going to be a little like laser beam. The claw's not going to do shit. It's just going to sit there.
What I don't understand is why, for the whole series, they need docking at all. Like, we are all fine with the video game trope of like magically beaming cargo into our stuff when we're at the terminal.
You need docking because it can't land on any surfaces fully laden.
That's okay. I get it, but I'm gonna quote.
He wants more hand wavery.
Age-old Reddit poster. It's in alpha. So like, why don't we just be like, it's cool if you just like zip zap the cargo into the hulls and get them in the game, and later on, if you can like work into animations of people like bringing boxes up there, great, that's cool. But like, we already do this with our cargo right now,
right? And I'm not against that. I'm just saying you can't land on a planet to get cargo with it fully extended. And there's no way to now with what they're planning. There's no way to extend only the top and the sides.
The cargo works exact same way now as it's just proximity.
It should work different with the whole series, though, right? Because you should see in its final iteration, like the little Argos or the little cool effects of them flying out cans to the ship and hooking them up and all that. It should eventually go to that.
All they need are cargo stations in space or in orbit that you can get close to in proximity, and then get the cargo to zap to your ship.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm not against that.
I don't think they have the cargo asset for exteriors yet, though. That's actually
one thing that Pappy said is that, well, maybe we could just make it so that the bottom doesn't fold out, right?
Yeah,
and then you can land, which I'm not against. But there's been no indication of that in any way, shape, or form.
They don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that should be an option. It'd be cool if you're like, okay, we need to configure this bad boy for some land ops because we know we're going to an area that an orbiting space station. It's a little bit in the sticks, so we're gonna not be able to carry a full load because we have to keep the bottom clean. That's like, those are cool decisions to make as a cargo guy. Like,
that would be cool, except for you can't extend the ship without putting out the bottom.
Yeah.
No, you could. I mean, they could make it so you could create a Atmo mode or something. Like, I don't know, but
I just want to make it to where I can detach each cargo block individually in atmosphere, and that way it'd be the greatest bomber I ever own.
I think you should totally
just drop storage containers and nitro. Just boosh.
You should not be able to load Hull series ships unless you have an Argo, unless you by hand move each box yourself into place.
Welcome to Sergeant Tickle's week. It's like somebody having like 6 semis pull up and they give them a pallet jack and say, "Good luck, buddy."
We just spent the last 4 days
dolly
loading this ship with cargo. 30K.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's one reason why I plan on having at least 3 Hull Cs and 2 Hull Ds.
Yeah,
3 Hull Cs you could fly. Just let's say you had 2 cargo points. You could fly to the place, hop out of that ship while they're unloading it, get in your fully loaded ship at this place, go back to the original point, which you left the ship there originally, your third ship, if you will, to be fully loaded. Drop that ship off, go get on the ship that was fully loaded. And you just have a 3-ship back and forth.
Well, this brings up a good thing that I think that they should be more comfortable with doing, which is like simulations of how it will be. And we understand it's a game in development. You should be able to. The idea would be you land a ship and all the little guys come out and start working on the cargo, right? And it takes time. Mm-hmm. That's fine. It takes 3 hours. Cool. I get it. It takes, a long time to unload a big old ship. But you should still be able to like do other stuff while it's unloading that or whatever. So like it would be a simulation. Yes, there's no real little guys being rendered. You can't go out there and watch it happen, but it's still the idea of it. It's a timer that simulates what will happen.
Chris Roberts ain't gonna have Argos moving shit around?
They will. And no, that's what I'm saying. They will eventually, but why not make that like simulated right now? All it is
right.
It doesn't really happen. Yeah. It's not physicalized, but it's happening,
Well, I mean, they kind of do. When you when you take a cargo run, it automatically disappears out of your hull.
Well, and
that's exactly my point, is they have some things in the game that operate that way, a simulation of sorts. They should do that with more of the mechanics.
Yeah, and Zafiro in chat, he's steering it back towards the intent of one of his questions there. He's like, why is the whole community obsessed with that docking? Mostly because the docking mechanic has nothing really to do with just docking. It also has to do with like ships attaching and detaching, like the snub fighters, like mooring ships together, like ships coming apart, like the Caterpillar can with command modules, those things. All those mechanics are on the same plane. So a lot of the functionality of our ships that we don't currently have, that we do have the shipping game, is related to that docking. And is related to all the object container streaming stuff and all the other aspects.
Everything. And not just that, it's literally been said to us that it's a gate for certain ships to become available, like the Hull series ships. So people are desperate for it because they want the ship that they're excited about to be in the game.
Well, before it got taken out, I mean, if you looked at that first iteration of docking that was going to come, it was specifically for the constellations and the snub fighters.
Yeah,
that was the only thing it was going to be for, is the connies, because it, it didn't say it in the little box, but if you popped open the big box, it specifically laid out it was just for the connies. which we've had forever with the snub fighters and never been able to take our snub fighters off.
I think they should just make them where they detach, so they don't fly. So they are like drop ships, just like you're doing a glider coming in. Good luck. Forget about hover mode. Here's your glider.
I mean, again, I don't know why. Like auto land would solve so many problems. You come up to a thing, you have a little fighter, and it's supposed to land in a ship's bay like the 890 jump.
They're gonna have to
be auto land. Why don't
they will have to
have auto land? You know,
same thing with the Idris and the Bengal and the Javelin. Anything that has like an actual landing on it like that, you're gonna have to auto land. Interior, there's no
unless you're just good at landing.
Well, but not if
Unless you're gonna land
if
like a
people want to
boss.
land like they want to, like the Idris is still moving and you're coming up on the acid to land in it, you're gonna see like fireballs everywhere, especially when it's a similar size to 890, right? And an Argo self-destructing right now next to an 890 will destroy the 890.
Imagine how bad you would feel.
So you just go
think you're shit hot and you're like, I'm so good at landing this shit.
Well, not even that.
And
like
you try to land in your buddy's Idris and you like tap the wall and you blow the whole thing up and you're like,
yeah, but I'm like right there alone. Like, okay, the strategy now would be if they make it the shields the way they're supposed to be and everything. If I see an Idris and I'm in a fighter, I just roll up and I just ram it. I just kamikaze or self-destruct into it, and that's the only way to destroy it with a single fighter. Like that's the way you do it. There's no reason to shoot it. It shouldn't. It should be like an aircraft carrier where it takes damage and it might hurt it a little bit, but it's not gonna destroy the whole ship instantly because an Argo explodes in the docking bay. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Kamikaze had the last question, which was, so what's the change to the blade that they said everyone is missing? I don't know.
I don't have a blade. I don't know.
Are we talking about the blade ship or are we talking about AI blades?
The blade ship.
Blade ship? I don't know.
They mentioned that there was a change to the blade ship. From what I saw,
knows about, or
well, they showed a clip of the blade, and basically, it was in a picture, and there was a change to it compared to the way the blade used to look like. Now, from what I saw, it looked like the size got just a little bit bigger on the blade, but I don't know what exactly they were talking about.
Well, the blade is supposed to be the style sheet generator for all Vandal moving forward, right? So I think they're trying to like hammer that out.
Yeah, like the Gunther said from the picture with the mine layer ship, so the Nautilus.
Speaking of new ships, I don't know how to ask a question in the chat, but I think we should touch on at least the Nautilus and the mine laying mechanics. And I will offer my semi-controversial opinion on mines, which is...
I'll let you do that. I'm going to take a quick bow. I'll be right back. Enjoy.
Cool. My opinion about mine gameplay in games I've played that have mines is that it's just sort of frustrating and unsatisfying because, but for both, the mine layer like learns that they killed somebody, or maybe they don't even know they ever did anything because somebody dies to a mine and they don't get an alert or anything, depending on how they set it up. And people that die to mines is definitely rage inducing. Because
you're like, what the fuck? I was just flying along.
Yeah, you're just flying along and you can't see these things if you're not in an exploration or a sensor ship, and you just die. Or you just take a massive amount of damage, and
Well, maybe.
And
I guess it just depends on how fast you're going.
Well, and the mine laying ship itself, the gameplay for that specifically is you fly around in an orbit of whatever you want to protect, shitting out mines for a half hour,
out mines all
and then what? You go land the ship ostensibly, because what else do you do once the mines are out of it? I don't know. I like the look of it. I think it looks cool. They're great at making ships. I just find myself a little unexcited about a mine laying ship, but I know that's not always the popular opinion. So I just thought I'd put it out there, get you guys' opinions.
I love the ship because when they first concept of this thing and was talking about it. It's a capital fighting ship. It's meant to be used against capital ships. It's not meant to be used against small ships. So you go out there next to these big capital ships, you poop out these mines, and then these mines are, size 5, equivalent to size 5 torpedoes or whatever. They start blowing up. They take out the big capital ships. What I loved about it, like you said, is I want one to use defensively. So if I go out there and set up my Endeavor as a mobile base for my groups and stuff like that, I can wrap that thing in mines and not have to worry about some asshole coming along while I'm down on a planet or going off and doing something else, and it's protected.
I can understand why you'd want a minefield around something you value in defense. That's easy to understand. I think just from a gameplay standpoint, I think for both mine layers and mine dire, I feel like that actual mechanic is unsatisfying for both, because unless they give you a little alert like, hey, you just fucked a guy.
Yeah, your mind just.
Well, you get notified. They said that the person who drops the mines will get notified if something happens with the mines, so you'll know.
Well, that's semi-satisfying. Analogy I'll give is Dota 2. It's a MOBA, totally different game. I understand, but there's a hero in it that just lays mines, and when somebody dies to those mines, this cat is over on some other side of the map doing who knows what. But he killed somebody. He just killed somebody because something he did like a half hour ago happened to get lucky enough to kill somebody. And I just find it to be like it slows things down. I think what ends up happening is if you know that there's a high degree of danger of mines in an area, what are you going to do? You're not going into that area. You're not even gonna touch it. So what it's gonna do is reduce activity in areas, and I think that generally is not a recipe for good storytelling or good gameplay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they'll be easy enough to take out. You just
I don't know if they track you from 5K away, and depending on how far your weapon range is and what you're using and stuff, you might end up with a ton of mines chasing your ass, and you're like, oh, just shoot them. Boom. Oh crap, 10 and 20 coming at you. You're like, oh.
To say nothing of like server performance, but that hopefully they'll sort that all out. But
you'll have to fix that.
The other thing I found was surprising, and we'll get to Sergeant Tickles' opinion on it too, is I was like, okay, mines. I mean, I guess I understand what they're talking about in terms of this function it serves. A size 7 gun, though. What else has a size 7 gun on? It's a capital
fighter. It's a capital fighter chip. That's what I said. It's like the Polaris, but it drops mines instead.
That thing should have a butt gun of size 7, not
the mines at all. They're gonna be like, I'm just gonna fly around and shoot shit with the 7.
Yeah, but it's not like you're gonna be able to take out Hornets with the size 7 gun because of its size, it's gonna be very, very slow moving.
Smaller than 890.
To fight bigger ships. So
smaller than a Polaris.
True. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what do you think, Sergeant Tickles? What was your opinion on the Nautilus?
Which one? The 1990s workout equipment or
that one?
That's all I fucking think about when I hear that name, dude. Honestly,
the naughty Nautilus.
Yeah.
My master.
I truly don't give a fuck about it. Don't care. Doesn't fit my gameplay at all. It's not. You know what I mean? It's like it's cool. Do I think it's a great ship? Fuck yeah, man. It's super cool. It's not me. I don't care about it.
Yeah. I think it makes sense for like a Squadron 42 narrative point. You're like, oh, we're coming up on this area. You know, we've got these mines out, or there's a ship laying mines out there for cinematic. Like I get it from that perspective. But from like an emergent gameplay standpoint, I've played enough PvP.
I don't care about it.
With mine type stuff that to know that what it's going to do is it's just going to kill the gameplay.
I think that ship is going to be the bane of Sergeant Tickle's existence. If he's rolling up in a hole and there's a mine, he's like, well, we're screwed. See, it's like
yeah, turn around, go the other way. I mean, that's what everybody's going to do. Yeah. What are you're
screaming at the scouts, why didn't you clear this field of asteroids?
Like, okay, I can either fight these fighters that are also attacking me, or I can try to go around shooting these little fucking mines. I choose to do neither. I'm getting out of here. Like it's.
I don't know. These things, they're not going to be like, I mean, they will follow you. They'll be attracted to you, but I don't think they're going to be zipping along at freaking fighter speeds. You know what I mean?
They're going to be pretty quick. I don't think they're going to be fighter quick all the way. I don't think like the M50's got anything to worry about. But I think if you don't make them at least able to catch Valkyrie speed or anything like that, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, much like missiles, if you don't make them deadly, then what is the point?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, they're designed to fight capital ships, which aren't going to be traveling very fast. So they'll go enough to catch the capital ships, but you in a small little, Gladius or something, probably zip all around these things.
Yeah, maybe not the gun. Maybe they'll make the gun ones faster. The ones with the little guns.
Maybe,
because those are for anti-fighters.
Yeah.
Size 2 ain't meant to kill no capital.
Size 2s.
Yeah, that ain't a capital gun. They'd be like, oh, look, the mines are shooting us. Be like, I don't care.
But see, they talked about coming out with more types, and what we're guessing is EMP mines.
EMP would be hilarious. You see, like, put them in an asteroid belt, people drive through them, and then they just like tumble their ship into rocks. Like,
all I see with Nautilus gameplay is forehead moments. That's all I see. And it's just so much forehead.
It's gonna be awesome though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It looks wicked. I will say it. They did a bang up job as usual on the look of it. And the
not gameplay for everybody, but I think having them in the universe is what I'm most excited about. Not really, hey, I want to get in one, lay mines, because I don't really care either. That'd be a job I would assign to somebody to do for a position. But the fact that there's mines out there makes it more exciting. Like, oh yeah, you're a hot ship pilot. That's great. Just follow me in this asteroid. But oh yeah, I put all my mines out here, by the way.
Well, that's it. You just can't run everywhere without scanning ahead. Listen, this game is designed like Battlestar Galactica. You're just not going to take one ship out in the middle of nowhere by yourself or whatever. You're going to go with a fleet of other people
will
in different types of ships. Well, I know they will, but they'll get their asses
after playing a decade of EVE Online. People do it. You're sitting on a gate camp filled with like 72 of your buddies. Nobody's going to come through this gate, and then all of a sudden they just jump in there and you tackle them, and then they sign away their capital ship, and then you kill their capital too, so they lose like $2 billion. It's like, what was that about? They just jumped in everything they had. Like, I don't know why. So, but it happens.
It instantly blew up.
Yep, it all died.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. They'll probably dial it in a little bit.
It's like that's the other thing that doesn't frustrate me, but puts perspective on how long this project's going to continue to go on. Much like Sergeant Tickles is thinking about this show right now. The gameplay is not even in to balance, right? Like we're worried about balancing, like whether the ship's going to come in and the gangplank's going to come out. We don't even have the gameplay to make sure the bounty hunting makes sense in the universe with the police, which makes sense in the universe with trading and you know what I mean? Like we don't even have that yet. So this is a long road. Everybody needs to sit back, chill out, and just kind of, go with the flow on it and play some Borderlands mines. Yeah. So that's good.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I think that, unless we had one more comes in there. One more question says, how will CIG planning the creations of all this new mechanics, mines, bombs, medical gameplay, space cook? That's basically what I was just talking about. All the mechanics, all the things, they're planning it, and supposedly they have a plan, but just like we saw with hover mode, sometimes the plan doesn't cut the mustard for what they want, what the community wants. I guess that's the most frustrating part for me on the backpedaling hover mode. I feel like they made a decision. It was a little bit more skill-based gameplay where you had to learn to do it, and then they backpedaled off of it. And if we do this on every game mechanic, I'll see you in 2040, because that's where we're going to be at.
I remember watching EFT, Escape from Tarkov. There was a major turning point, and that turning point was because it was a game in development. People could play it, but it was rife with bugs and issues. It took a major leap forward when patches started to only introduce new mechanics and new content, and never really rarely broke anything. And if it did, it was a couple little odds and ends that they hot patched shortly thereafter. But but generally speaking, every patch just adds new content. It doesn't break or re-break things that existed before, and that's a pretty major corner to turn in any game. And I'm really hoping that they can get there soon with Star Citizen, because then you will see some vaulting forward. But until
we've yet to see that,
Well, once they get Squadron 42 done, they've already said this, and they said it at the VIP event as well, that they want those people to transition into PU. So they're going to be putting a lot of focus and a lot of new gameplay in the persisting universe, right around this next year, probably, to keep those people in the universe. So expect to see a lot of updates for that.
Yeah, but just same thing we're seeing like with hover mode. We need a baseline in order to expand off of, because like all of us here have talked about separately and together, waiting for the project to turn the corner. We don't know where the baseline to CIG is, because it really doesn't matter about our perspective. It's where do they consider where is okay, we're at the base level and we're doing this. Because even if you look at the pillars, if you look at everything, it's not a linear progression, I guess is the best way to say it. So it's very odd how these type of projects come together, as far as all the pieces. I think they're doing a good job with what's happening with everything, but at the same time, when you reach technical hurdles like we have with server-side OCS and server meshing and all this stuff, say you add the gameplay in where you can have the capitals, say you have the Karakanon stuff, I mean, then you're reaching a population barrier to make it interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that it's clear that the priority, like P1 is Squadron 42, even if you don't think that that's the most important part of this project, it's clearly temporally the thing that comes first. So that's got to be the first.
And they have a better perspective on it, to be honest. I mean, we can complain out here in the community and all that stuff, but they have a better perspective, because guess what? They're in the company. They see what they need to do. They see what needs to be done. And we just have our outside opinions, but maybe, I mean, that revenue from Squadron 42, they might need that. And I would think
a lot of the content that's developed and it releases into the PU area that we see is clearly kind of designed for Squadron 42. The Valkyrie was, as much as I love the Valkyrie, I think was clearly built to serve a role in the narrative of Squadron 42. The Nautilus is probably very similar. I don't think they're necessarily thinking this is going to be, mind-blowingly awesome gameplay for the MMO. I think they're just, they had to make it for the Squadron 42, and they're like, I think players would enjoy this in the PU now, and it's a done asset. So I think that's what drives a lot of the content we get is Squadron 42, which is why I'm excited about Star Citizen or Citizen Con, is because I think that we'll get to see a lot of these things that are driving what we get to use and play every day, but we don't get to see Squadron 42 every day,
Yep. I agree.
Well, they said don't expect they said they'll do a little bit of Squadron 42 at this year's Citizen Con, but don't expect it to be the main focus.
Yeah.
So they said, for those of you that didn't know, that hasn't heard, they have a bunch of new tech, kind of like they showed us last year with cloth tech and stuff. They got a bunch of new that to show us that's supposed to be mind-blowing. They have a Star Marine update, which I've been freaking dying for, that we're going to get. And, of course, like I said, a little bit of Squadron 42, but not a big squadron.
I think that...
So when Chris came to you, Toy, and said that they're not going to do a lot of Squadron 42, were you like freaking out?
No. I think it's great. I expected it to be huge this year, but they said they're not ready to start rolling out the advertising for Squadron 42 yet. They said the timing needs to be perfect on it, and they just weren't ready to start.
Well,
so I don't know if that's 6 months out or 8 months or wherever they decide, but
I could see them being
definitely not it.
Precarious position where they don't want to steal the thunder from a real marketing drive for Squadron 42 that'll hopefully be 12 months out, but they also are in a difficult position. They've talked about it. I think Disco talked about it. I think Chris has talked about it, that they've already revealed a lot of tech. They've already, revealed a lot of things to the PU, to all of us, that are kind of jaw dropping, but they're normal now. So, because this thing is developed largely in the open, it's getting harder and harder for them to create presentations that are kind of like, amaze balls, jaw dropping. We all stand up and cheer and are excited about it. It's hard for them to do that without just flatly withholding information from us and being like, we have CitizenCon coming up, so we're just not going to tell you guys about shit until CitizenCon, so that it's all a surprise. But the reality is, we see all the cities now, so even if it was a new city coming through, it would still not be like, it wouldn't blow our minds, right? It'd be like, okay, it's another area. We've seen train tech, that's cool. You know, we've seen cave tech now.
We've seen walking on hills.
Yeah, so like I think they do have a difficult job with CitizenCon stuff to impress annually, but I really honestly I think that the best way for them to do that is with Squadron 42 stuff at this point. But if they don't want to do that, then we'll see what they give us.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Chris is going to come out with his more advanced, more intimate pillow talk this year. So, so more intimate setting.
It's gonna be sexy.
VIP only event. Act now. Oh, no.
Legatus only.
It'll be good.
Legatus only.
It'll be good. Gosh, I wish I could go.
I do
Not
too.
this year.
I wish you could go too.
I know. Next year. Next year we'll
Next
do
year.
it. All right. I think that's
next year will be easy. Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, we hope. We hope it'll be easy. I thought I'd at least make TwitchCon this year, but that ain't happening. So
No, I
not
was gonna
this
say
time.
I ain't making shit this year.
Yeah. And more as the life preserver, and then next year I'll hopefully be paying most of that loan off. So we'll see. See what happens with that. But anywho's, guys, let's go ahead. We're gonna go wrap this up. Thank you all for being on, guys. I really appreciate it. We kind of called a mulligan last week because everybody was busy or sick or gone or MIA or something. So
yeah, I had a gnarly cold last week.
I know, and you had a wedding too. So you were very out. So Toy messaged me at 10:15 going, "Oh shit, am I supposed to be on the show?"
I didn't even realize it was Friday till I messaged him. I was like, somebody was like, "It's Friday. Are you going to do the SpaceBro Show?" I'm like, "What? It's Friday."
Talking about streaming a lot. It's like when the days blend together, you don't even know what day of the week. It's like, what? What's happening? It's like, yeah, it happens, man. It's all good. But we'll be back next week. We'll see who's going to be on the last weekend of the year because, or this month rather, because we're going to have bumping up against TwitchCon. So a lot of people are going to be gone for that.
Well, I'm not going. So
well, me and you, buddy, to stay healthy, we'll make it happen. Stay healthy. I had my flu shot yesterday. Actually, I went in and got them. I'm like, I ain't messing around this year.
Nice. You're not getting that strand.
No, not this year. I was done. I've lined up the kids. We're all going up there. It's like boom, boom, boom. Get everybody done. It's like going up there was like when I take my dad up to the VA. Just line them up and do it. Get it all done.
Oh my God. Yeah. Basic training.
Yep. Shot line.
Throwing needles into my shoulder. It was like literally throwing like darts into my shoulder as a thing. Anyway, another day, another story.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. I am going to pop back on and do some Borderlands after this. So if you're not going to stay here, make sure you check out one of these other fine gentlemen or somebody else on the team for the Space Bros. And if not, make sure at least you have a great evening. We'll see you sometime this weekend.
Fact.
Yep.
Good
Absolutely,
night.
guys. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you later.
Space Bros.
Space Bros. Could have had the whip in there.